So, welcome to Cub's Corner. I'm here with Greg, and I'm directly giving to Greg because he's the moderator here.
Welcome, everyone, and all our subs in Germany, Texas, and broadcasting to everyone around the world. We have an entertainment stream, as usual, when sometimes we touch on some current events and whatever else happens to occur to us. Although normally we're covering modern entertainment with a little bit of older stuff because it's normally better thrown in as well. Have a pretty good show lined up. There's lots of good stuff that came out recently. So, what do you think, Cub?
I think I have no clue what you're talking about when you're talking about good stuff, but the rest I agree on.
Well, some of the stuff wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I mean,
Really?
like the Prey movie is better than the last few Predator movies. So
God.
that was kind of a shock.
So you haven't seen Rings of Power or what?
Oh yeah, I saw Rings of Power.
And you are talking about good things.
Well, I'm trying to be positive as always, but I enjoyed Solar Opposites, and Prey was better than I thought it would be. So there's a couple of good things, and that's a lot for nowadays.
And so you're clearly not talking about She-Hulk.
Oh man, yeah. Well, we will. We got a good list: Samaritan, She-Hulk, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Solar Opposite. If Bazzil arrives like he's supposed to, he got delayed. We'll get to the old Marathon Man movie. There's a Prey movie, and we might even get to Lone Wolf and Cub movies from the 70s, which Bazzil has recently been watching and wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah, which is very cool. Which is my upcoming review, by the way. On Wednesday,
that's right.
Comes Lone Wolf and Cub.
And for those of you who don't make the connection with his name, Cub, he actually named himself from those movies.
Yeah, the Lone Wolf Cub is from Lone Wolf and Cub. And also, it's the birthday video for my mother, by the way. Because
oh wow, really?
Yes, I made it back then in 2016 as a birthday present, and it is a crazy coincidence. Back then, when I made it the first time, it was Big Trouble in Little China, and it was just a section of Big Trouble in Little China, and I included the Lone Wolf and Cub just because of her birthday. And
well, that's really cool.
Yeah, and so now it has a separate release on its own, but back then Wednesday was I had also Wednesday premieres in 2016, and the Wednesday was one day before her birthday. So in the video I said she has tomorrow birthday and happy birthday from here, and thanks for all. And this time this Wednesday is also one day before her birthday. So I didn't even have to change that line in the review.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, and it was for me also a sign that I have to redo the review. Because the Wednesday...
Well, it's good to update them. Cub has been updating several of his older reviews to more currently reflect better audio abilities, and sometimes he adds in new stuff. So if you see one that you've seen before but it's slightly different, then that's why.
Yeah, and the audio is really important to update the audio, because compared my old audio compared to the new one, this is really like night and day. Or wouldn't you say that, Greg?
Oh yeah, it's a vast improvement.
Yeah, because I rewatched my old stuff and I couldn't enjoy it anymore because the audio sounds so crappy compared to the new audio, and so now I'm redoing all my videos so that people
Yeah.
know what is coming up. Tomorrow Mhm.
I
Greg?
agree on some of my older stuff. When it's bad audio, the bad audio bothers me more than anything else. When when I don't update any of my videos, but I watch some of my older stuff and I'm like, man, that sucks. Why did I let that go? But a lot of times it's the equipment you're working with that fails you.
Yeah, no, and it was the same with me. I had this crappy equipment where I had to run a PC, and the PC which I was recording the audio with was so loud that I had to filter it after I have recorded it, and the filtering process destroyed the audio, which I didn't know back then. So
Oh man.
my first videos, all the audio you can't save it anymore because I destroyed it by putting filter here by trying to reduce the white noise in the background, and by trying to reduce it, I reduced also parts of the audio itself so that you can't save the old audio anymore. So I have to record them all. I have to all record them new. Yeah, and we have here a magic in the chat, and if he likes to come in, he has an open invitation. I'm going to send him an invitation right now. So if he dares to come in, but
Oh yeah, Doc, that'd be great. Or Magic, as you call it.
yeah, but he doesn't dare to come in when I'm streaming because he loses every argument, and this is very frustrating for him. He's for people who don't know who I'm talking about. Here, Magic Bollocks. Or, he's just a stupid Brit, and that is really sad. I know, but we are just superior here in Germany, and he knows that.
Well, he's always welcome to join us.
Yeah, he's always welcome to get another lection or lesson, or what you call it, when you have to go to school and listen to the teacher.
Yeah, well, both of y'all always think you win, so I'm not going to comment on that.
Yeah. So, Greg, you have the plan. I have no plan at all. As Magic always accuses me.
You ought to go back and watch like our first show when Cub was totally in charge. We just wander around, and we didn't cover anything we were supposed to cover. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Eventually, we changed it a little bit so people actually know what we're going to cover. Okay.
Yeah. So
I guess we'll start out with Samaritan, the movie with Sylvester Stallone. That it's not an MCU movie, but it is a superhero movie of a character I hadn't heard. Is he part of the MCU? I don't think so.
No, he's first off.
He's a comic book character, though, right? Not one I'd heard of, but I bet Jez did.
No, Jez also never heard of him. And,
really?
And by the way, you say it's a superhero movie, but I would doubt that. When we talk about
meta-human, I mean, what do they call it? Meta-human? I'm not quibbling about it. Looks like a superhero movie to me. He has superhero type powers, and he's from a comic book, and
wait a second. I'm not sure that he's from a comic book. As you said, you have never heard of him, and I have also never heard of him. And when you watch the movie, they don't mention that in the title screen or something like that it's based on a comic book or something like that.
You think they just made him up out of nothing?
Yes.
Huh.
Yes, and he comes off
you know what?
Like made up on the fly.
Well, you know what? I'll give him credit for that. kind of prefer right now that somebody come up with something original. You know what I mean?
And I doubt that also that we're talking here about something original. So let's talk about this Samaritan thing.
But you're saying it's not based on a comic book. It's not based on anything we've heard of before. That would imply that it's an original creation, which I can't remember anything that's superhero related that's been an original creation.
Yes, you
for how
can.
long? Can you
Yes,
name?
you can. You can. Darkman. Darkman
Yeah.
is not based on a comic book, and it's an original creation. And it's the best comic book adaptation or comic book movie ever of all time.
Yeah, but that's been how long? I meant in the current climate. That's been quite a while back. When was that?
Yeah, 1990.
Yeah, so we're talking 30 years, 32 years. I mean, recently, you know, and especially
don't forget, Puma Man is a completely original character.
And that's from that time period as well. So that's back when they could still
come
up.
1980. That's 40 years ago.
Right? Well, 40 years. It's still in the more creatively non-bankrupt time period. I am surprised. I hadn't heard of it, but I thought I'm not the comic book expert like Jez and stuff. So it could easily have been out there and I didn't know about it. But yeah, let's talk about it. First, we'll hear what Cub had to think. It sounds like he really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Let's talk about what's the Samaritan about. So it's about a twin brothers who, I don't know, they don't look the same, I think. And we see it in a flashback or something like that, or in a tale, in a kind of fairy tale manner. These two twins, they're born with kind of superpowers, and so people started to fear them, and so they burned down their home, and the parents died. So these twins became orphans or something like that, and one of them turned to the dark side and wanted revenge, and the other one turned into Samaritan. And they both were masks, and also the bad one think is called Nemesis or something like that.
Yeah, it's Nemesis. Of course, Samaritan's based on the story from the Bible of the Good Samaritan who stops and helps somebody who's injured, a traveler on the road.
Really
just for people who might not.
Yeah,
well, but just for people who might not be familiar with Bible tales.
But please, Greg, how original is that? To call the good guy Samaritan and the bad guy Nemesis. This is so unoriginal to call them that.
No, that's true.
They could just call them good guy and bad guy.
Ironically, the bad guy in the movie who's not Nemesis, who when it starts out we learn that Samaritan has killed Nemesis, his brother, and has been in hiding as a garbage man. But this other individual who's the bad guy in the movie, I can't remember his name, he breaks into the police deal and gets Nemesis' hammer, which was recovered from his death scene, and then he's trying to stir up people. He's the actual villain, and he does call. He keeps mocking him when they're near the end of the movie and they're trying to kill him. He keeps saying, "You're the good guy. You're the good guy," which is exactly the line you just used. They might have well just have said "good guy, bad guy," huh?
Yeah,
because they actually used that line several times in the movie, calling him "good guy." You're a good guy. Very simplistic.
Yeah, and let's talk about the superpowers. First off, so the superpowers of the Samaritan twins, I call them twins, okay, they are kind of super strong when script needs it. When script says, then they have the strength that they need for their action. If it's lifting a car or whatever, or going through a wall. And they are kind of indestructible when the script needs it. Because sometimes they get hurt, but they heal very fast, and sometimes not. Is that correct, Greg?
Yeah, I think Stallone, I'm just going to call him Stallone, was talking about how he had lost some of his powers and he was older. So perhaps he was being affected by his aging process.
Yeah, and also the kryptonite of the Samaritan seems like when that they get overheated or something like that, and the heart.
Yeah, the healing process causes overheating. So whenever they're injured or something, or I guess overuse their powers, they start to steam up, and he has to cool down with the water or something.
Yeah, with water or something like that. So first off, these twins, at the beginning they were superpowered twins. They came off like, I would say, like X-Men. People born with a degeneration or something like that, or with a mutation, or kind of an evolutionary step or something like that. Or wouldn't you say that?
I didn't get a good explanation for why they'd been superpowered.
Yeah, that's for me. It came off like with X-Men. People.
Oh yeah, the mutant abilities in X-Men, yeah, but they did call them metahumans, didn't they? So doesn't that kind of imply the same kind of thing as X-Men?
Yeah, that's the reason why I compare them to X-Men, and also they are the only ones on the whole planet, because the parents clearly are not superhumans. They got killed in the fire, and also they don't mention any other superhuman beings on the planet. It seems like
no, that's true.
It seems like these two were the only ones. So, but for some reason now they said that one of them, the bad guy, Nemesis, created a hammer that can hurt his brother. But why is this hammer? What's the logic behind that? Is it because, for me, this is like including magic in the story, or not?
Well, the story is he built that hammer with his hate and poured it into it specifically to kill his brother.
Yeah, but this is but when you go with that, then this is a supernatural element, because before that you could argue these may be kind of mutants, evolutionary.
Well, I guess that's true.
Like that.
Where did this power? How did he put his mutant power into the hammer? You're right. That is kind of a supernatural element, isn't it?
Wait a second. Why didn't Samaritan uses his laugh and create a shield with his laugh power? So the hate power against the laugh power. Here, like
the love power.
Yeah. Here, like in these these Glücksbärchis. What's the name? The English name for Glücksbärchis. Oh, I have. Do you know what I mean? There's a movie for children. It's called Glücksbärchis in German. And I have discovered that it's even an English property, or it's not even a German. I thought always it's a German movie, but it seems like Care Bears. Yeah, Care Bears.
Oh, like the Care Bears?
Yes. Why didn't the Samaritan activated his Care Bear powers? Because when one of them uses hate to create a weapon, then of course the other should use love to create a shield or something like that, like with the Care Bears, or not? That we get the Care Bear logic at least.
Yeah, well, that would be logical, but I don't think Samaritan thought of that.
Don't you think Samaritan is in the Care Bear extended universe or something like that.
It could be, but like you say, they didn't really explain how he put the power into the hammer, and it doesn't fit with the. Maybe that's one of the problems of creating your own original thing. You don't, and you don't think it through, maybe like you should, and you just push it out there, and there it is.
Or maybe they just made the story up on the fly without putting any care in it, like the Care
Well,
Bears would
that's
have
what I
done.
mean. They made something original, but they used the most simplistic names. They didn't think through, where does he get all this power for the hammer?
Yeah, yeah, really. For me, this is a movie created by someone who wanted to make a superhero movie without being a fan of any superhero, because every fan of a real property like Superman or Batman or whatever, or Spider-Man or Avengers would know this stuff, would say, "Hey, wait a second. If one of them gets a weapon and using hate, then the other one should have something similar. And how would this affect the world which they are in?" But I tell you, these people who made this movie or this script, they have no clue about superheroes or comic book in general, because
Well, in a way that was kind of appealing, because nowadays they really just trash anything that comes out of comic books. If you go by the MCU, and I think this is far superior to anything the MCU has put out for years. It's just
okay, but
it's bad. It's bad,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it's not bad like intentionally written to offend me. You know
yeah,
what I
but
mean? They mess up, but they do it honestly because
yeah,
they're not that bright, and
yeah,
I can accept that.
yeah, but Greg, you can't compare to the MCU crap. This is too low. If you compare to everything is better than the MCU crap of the last years.
Well, the
So
MCU is our current superhero movies. This is a superhero type movie, and so it has to be compared. I mean, we could compare it to DC as well, and they're not doing that great. The stuff they're not even releasing their Batgirl movie because it's so awful. They know how bad it will do. I'm sure that this thing's better than Batgirl. Oh, and we got Doc.
Hello.
yeah,
Hey, it's good to see you. You came to save us.
yeah.
Was it getting that bad already?
No, he's
No.
coming. He's coming to get his next lesson as usual.
What, in defeating Cub? I know. I've learned that lesson too many times already.
Yeah, sure.
No, it's all right, Cub. No need to be modest.
No, like with the MCU, defeating magic is just too easy. It's too low of a fruit hanging. Sorry,
Yeah.
because with
What
magic,
else
especially, he has not seen anything. He can't say anything about.
You just
or
don't want to
TV or
admit that it's better than the MCU. I mean, I'm comparing it to the current movies that are out there of the similar genre. And you just don't want to admit it because you'd have to admit it's somewhat better. I mean, yes,
Yeah.
it's flawed and imperfect. Nomad would have to destroy it. But
Yeah.
you know what it reminded me of? It's so focused on the kid, and it's got the kid's point of view, and that really detracts from it. You remember the old Godzilla movies when they started out? They're really good. They're dark. And then they brought in these kids in the 60s, and you had that kid's point of view. I thought Stallone's acting when he was with the kid was way below when it was when he was away from him. And having the kid in there was a big drag down. It was like Godzilla with the kid. It's like, God, the ending, the battle at the ending was pretty good. Even Cub might say that. What did you think about the battle at the end?
First off, Magic, did you watch Samaritan, by the way? Maybe?
I haven't seen it, no. I have heard of it, though, because, weren't you and Jazz talking about it on Wednesday?
Yeah, and just didn't see it either, and he wanted to watch it, and then maybe join our stream today to talk a little bit about it. So
yeah, I got the impression he wasn't all that overly keen because he thought that a bloke who's well into his 70s is not going to make a particularly entertaining superhero, is it? What's it go? You know, what is he? Zimmer frame man or something? Is it?
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Well,
it's
that was part of the
complete
story. Was he was too old. He was hiding, basically retired, and they worked that in. He was trying to avoid any type of superhero activity. They forced him to do it,
Yes,
and
yes.
there was a surprise twist ending that I don't know that Cub's even aware of. He watched the movie, but I don't think he saw the movie. If you know what I mean,
and
Doc.
he was so keen not to get involved in any superhero action that he lived in the middle of the city to stay alone.
That's the best place to. That's the best place to hide. I tell you what. You live in a little town, I could find you easy. You come to Houston among 7 million people, and you try and find me. It's very difficult.
No, Greg.
The best place to hide is in a crowd.
No, Greg. If you don't want to get involved in action with people, especially crime, then you don't live in the middle of a huge city where crime is every day in front of your face.
I think it'd be quite
you just
easy
ignore
to find
it.
you. I think it'd be quite easy to find you, OG, really. I just ask all the locals, do you know a gentleman who works in the oil industry and likes burning German flags? That shouldn't take too long.
Yeah, it probably could find me, but I'm an exception. I'm telling you, I would hide in a city of 10 million people. That I think that's the perfect place to hide. But okay, so there's a big twist ending. Now, I think Cub watched the movie, but he didn't get the twist ending. Do you think he got the twist ending, Doc?
If we're talking about Cub, definitely not.
I don't think you know.
He probably watched a copy where the ending was cut off anyway.
Or maybe he just watched a review of the movie and he didn't actually watch it. Let's find out if Cub actually saw this movie. What's the big twist ending of the movie, Cub?
Oh, the big twist. I guess you mean that the Samaritan is in fact Nemesis, and which doesn't make any sense whatsoever, by the way.
It makes a lot of sense. That is a good twist. This is why he doesn't want to help anybody. This is because he's actually the bad guy, and that doesn't come out till they push him and push him and push him, and they're like, "Oh, you're Mr. Good Guy," and he's like, "No, I'm not Mr. Good Guy. You're all gonna fucking die."
Greg,
and he kills them all.
No,
he
Greg,
kills them.
Wait a second.
Mercilessly.
So first off, it doesn't matter. He wants to have a low profile, doesn't want to tell anybody who he is. And it doesn't matter if he doesn't want to tell anybody that he is Samaritan or that he is Nemesis, because he doesn't want to tell anybody anyway. So the twist at the end doesn't make any sense, because then...
If Nemesis is still alive, they're going to be hunting for him. If Samaritan is alive but hiding, they're not going to be hunting for him. That does make sense. Put on your logic cap, Cub.
Really?
And he didn't tell them until they were forcing him, and they kept. Then he was. You notice he killed every one of them that he told. Did you notice that? That's one way to keep your secret. He told them, and then he killed every single one of them. Mercilessly.
He killed every single one of them because
that's how you keep the secret, Cub.
Because they are all humans and he is a superhuman. That's why he killed all the other ones. And the main character, the main bad guy,
he told them because they knew his secret and they had to die.
Yeah, but
and they pissed him off.
Greg, the main bad guy is also just a human.
Right.
He has no superpowers. Just because he puts on the stupid mask doesn't make him stronger. So there's no need to tell him anything.
No, there was no need, but he got angry. They had been messing with him the whole movie. They ran him down with a car. They shot him many times. He kept trying to back off. They wouldn't let him back off.
But they played the final fight like this human has superhuman powers and can withstand the Samaritan or Nemesis. But normally, this guy should have been dead after the first hit.
Yeah, that's true. Do you think he was wearing his brother's mask? Do you think it gave him some sort of supernatural ability? Since it's not just a metahuman thing, we've already established from you that it has some sort of supernatural power. Perhaps Samaritan's shield deal that you were talking about was contained in that mask and gave him a shielding-like ability.
No,
how about that, Cub?
Because it was not his brother's
possible.
mask, Greg. It was not his brother's mask. It was his mask. He wore the Nemesis mask.
Well, nevertheless,
because he was a
perhaps it had some type of power.
Because he was a Nemesis fanboy, not a Samaritan fanboy.
Well, I'm trying to poke holes in him.
Your theory makes no sense. Debunked, or what you say.
Okay, so basically, this is better than the other superhero movies out there. Stallone, while he was lame when he was with the kid, and the kid really drug the movie down. The twist ending was good. It was okay. I wasn't unhappy with it. I thought I would be. It was, damn boring for a lot of the movies.
I thought it is unwatchable crap. It's boring like hell. Didn't care for anybody who was running around there. And also, as I said, it doesn't make any sense. This whole movie contains one super strong being or something like that. One mutant or superhero or super villain, what you want to call it. One
bad guy normally.
But he didn't have anybody who could mess with him because he was the only super being on the planet.
Right. Well, Godzilla, the first movie, only had one Godzilla monster, and still it was a good movie. You don't always need a second monster in the movie, Cub.
Yeah, but there was not even one monster in the movie because the bad guy was the good guy, which turned in the end out to be the good guy because
he wasn't a good guy. He was a bad guy. He was just hiding.
Yeah, but he was pretending to be a good guy because
they kept calling him Samaritan. He never claimed that's who he was. He wasn't pretending to be anybody. They were mistakenly calling him that. He set them straight.
Yeah, but still
he made it very clear that wasn't who he was over and over again.
Yeah, wait
a second.
No. But it doesn't make any sense with his actions, because during the whole movie he wanted to help people. He never acted like a villain.
Well, he had mellowed out over the years. Even Cub could change.
Yeah, he'd sort of given up his old ways. He bought, a pipe and some slippers, and he decided that, he was going to be more relaxed in his dotage.
Right, and he certainly didn't want to be seen as being Nemesis, because that would cause all the heat in the world. Everybody would start looking for him again. So if he's going to be mistaken for anybody after going to all the trouble of making it look like he was dead, he would rather be mistaken for his twin brother, the good guy, and then he would instantly disappear. That was obviously his plan. He tried to do that, but he had this stupid people, who just insisted on dragging him, into it.
Yeah, so he was the kind of bad guy that was not that bad because he couldn't let the boy get beaten up and things like that, and also tried during the movie to help one or the other.
If you noticed, he also said they didn't understand him because he had set up that bomb to supposedly knock out the power and cause all these problems. And he specifically said, no, I set that as a trap for my brother. That wasn't anything about, doing all this stuff they thought I was doing. No one understood what I was doing. So he was misunderstood. He was just a good guy, probably a good old boy, maybe from the South, wanted to drink his beer and catch some catfish, and Cub kept messing with him.
Yeah, who makes a hammer out of hate to kill his brother.
Oh, everybody has a hate hammer down south.
Yes, I know. Here in Germany, this is also tradition. But still, it doesn't make any sense when it
And
doesn't
not to
play out
you.
in Germany or in Texas. The rest of the world, it doesn't make any sense, this kind of behavior. You know that, Greg.
I may know it, but I'm here to mess with you. So
Yeah, but you
that's
can't
what I did.
compare the rest of the world with Texas or Germany because these are special places. You know that.
Well, there you go. I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we covered that. If we do that long on each segment, it'll be a 8-hour show. So we got to move on at some point. Is there anything you did get a chance to watch, Doc, like She-Hulk or Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones or Solar Opposite?
No, you're asking me about pop culture these days is like asking fucking, Cub about what's called war history. It's I just don't have the time these days to sit down and watch any of that shit because I know I won't enjoy it anyway. It's only
Yeah, you're right about that.
When something comes up that I actually want to watch. I mean, Cub knows I'm a massive Terminator fan, and I still haven't seen Dark Fate, and really, I have zero interest in ever watching it because I just know I'm going to be, literally spitting at the screen.
Hey, did you like my new version of the Dark Fate review? I inserted.
Well, you mean like your old version of the Dark Fate review? Yes. Well,
No,
I don't understand why you were rehashing them, Cub, because they haven't. Nothing's changed as far as I'm aware.
Hey, this is your Dark Fate.
Being on with you, Cub, is like so like a beacon into reminding me why leaving the internet was probably. I probably did it a little prematurely. There was plenty more Germans to slay out there.
Yeah, but as you have heard, the sound is now much better on the reviews, and I insert new scenes and new segments, and also with Dark Fate, I inserted much more scenes here, especially from the new movies.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone beyond Salvation myself because Jenna Shit and Dark Flop were just. I mean, you can tell it's by the same production company because Jenna Shit has some of the worst casting in cinematic history, and Dark Fate was just a case of. I mean, this is actually a theory of mine, and it could be completely wrong, but I think there is some water to it. Is that Cameron had the rights to the franchise back, and then the same production company who made Jenna Shit had to ask if, his permission, can we make another Terminator film? And he said, certainly, but only if I'm allowed to give you some ideas. And what he did then was feed them the idea of, wouldn't it be a good idea if we kill John Connor off in the first 5 minutes? Because I generally think he thought, I can make a lot of money out of this, and I can finally kill that fucking franchise off that should have died in 1991. And because these idiots are so stupid, they'll actually, James Cameron thought of that. It must be a good idea. And then literally with 5 minutes, dead.
Yes, I agree on that theory because for sure he had the most say on the production. He was one of the producers even from Dark Shit. And if he wasn't, if it wasn't for him a good idea to kill off John Connor, then he would never have approved on that. This Tim Miller the director, he had no say at all on this project. That's for sure.
No, I don't think he had any say. I think he was just there because Cameron wasn't going to direct it, obviously. So they just needed, we've got the bloke who did Deadpool 1, and that did quite well, even though it was actually probably more all done by Ryan Reynolds than it was from old Miller himself. He was just there to, look, we have actually got a director. He didn't do fuck all, but, we're all credit to this bloke anyway. I know, we'll put him in another film, a popular franchise, and he'll prove to the world that he really is a competent director. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's moaning that he doesn't get his phone calls returned.
Hey, have you heard from the next project of Tim Miller?
He's got one? What is it, directing porno, though?
No, I also not. I have also heard nothing. I just wanted to. Have you heard the silence?
If you have heard something, Cub, you've probably heard more than he has.
No, as I said, have you also heard the silence? Yeah, yeah. No next project.
Yeah, it's you've probably both noticed, even with that Stallone film, is that when have they recently come out with any original ideas? Really?
Yeah, for sure, not with Samaritan. That's for sure.
Because I don't know whether that's actually tied to any of the big comic franchises like DC or Marvel, because I don't recognize any of them characters.
It's not. It's not. It has nothing to do with anything.
So it's a strange time for them to be doing another superhero movie on a franchise that nobody knows about at a time when the actual big franchises are actually starting to contract, because I don't think a single comic book film this year has grossed $1 billion, has it? I think the only one it's still Top Gun 2 that's got the highest gross in so far.
Hey,
which
you
is
forgot the last Spider-Man disaster. This grossed barely.
And Top Gun 2
was that this year though?
Yes,
I thought that was last year.
Wasn't that here, Greg? Wasn't that this year, or was it? Oh, wait a second. You could
I'm
be
sure.
right.
I'm sure. What was it called? Spider-Man. Let's throw in everything and hope it works. Whatever it was called.
Yeah,
I'm sure. I'm sure it was last year.
It was called Spider-Man 3 because there were 3 Spider-Man in it.
Did it also have the Sandman and Venom, and then end on a lot of disappointment?
Yeah, this one. I think Spider-Man Far From Good or something like that was the name.
Oh, well, the trouble is there, Cub, you were sort of outvoted there a little bit by the viewing public, because they gave that film a lot of money, didn't they?
I think Top Gun did well because it was just a fun summer popcorn flick, and they didn't inject a bunch of their current year politics. And I think the reason they killed off John Connor was they were going to bring in a female Latina star to replace the male. And so what they always do is they can't have the male around, because apparently they don't know how to write banter or have a female be strong if there's a male there who's not a beta male or an idiot or somebody who can be totally dominated. And they didn't know how to write John Connor that way, so they eliminated him. It was that simple.
I do agree with you, OG. You're right, but I think the whole premise is it gave Cameron the excuse to come up with an idea he knew would kill off the franchise for good.
Oh, I think you're right about that.
Yeah,
and think about this revolutionary idea: a Terminator movie with a female lead. This was never done before, I think.
Well, Sarah Chronicles. Yeah.
No,
even the series, even the Terminator series had a female lead.
No, the thing is, it had already a female lead. This franchise had already a female lead, Sarah Connor. They don't need another female lead. They just killed off the last living man, because the Terminator is a robot. So and they chuck off his balls here by putting him together with this woman, and now he cares for a child.
Well, every element in that, every element in that film was a rip-off of the previous 5 anyway, in some capacity, because what was the Terminator, the bad, I can't even remember its stupid fucking name. It was the idea of a liquid Terminator and an endoskeleton. So that's the TX from the third film. Then you've got the human hybrid, which is the one from Salvation. And then you've got the changing of the time, which is the time space continuum, which is Terminator 3 and Jenna shit again. So there's not an original idea in that fucking film. The only thing that's original is apparently if a Terminator completes its mission, then it will go and help a Hispanic woman being gang raped by several white men, and then form a platonic relationship with her and then sell drapes. It's like that's got to be another That's got to be another Cameron idea. There's
Yeah, sure.
no way on earth anybody else would think that was a good idea.
Yeah, maybe he really directed
true.
Piranha 2, and it was not this other guy that came in where he said,
Well,
"Oh, I just was the first 2 weeks on set, and then this other guy finished the movie," like I said in my review. But probably he really made the whole movie.
I do, because I can't, but nobody has done what I think would be a great spoof of that film, where you have all these Terminators in the future who are like, I don't know, sent out on reconnaissance missions, kills a load of resistance fighters, then returns to Skynet and has to go into therapy because it doesn't know what to do with itself now it's completed its mission. You know, I can just imagine, you know, that scene in Salvation where they're waking Marcus up. It's the same, but it's a Terminator coming back from its mission, basically floods of tears. It doesn't know what to do with its existence now.
Yeah, and by the way, the first Terminator has not this problem because they established in the second Terminator, I think, that the Terminators have batteries that have a runtime from 80 years or something like that. And when these batteries are over, then it's just over. Then it just can't do anything anymore.
Well, as much as the film is derided, Terminator 3 had discussed that very theme, didn't it? Because was it that Kate, whatever her name was, says to the Terminator, "You don't care if you
Kate
if we
Bishop
will die." Yeah, and he says that if you were to die, I would become useless, and there would be no reason for me to exist. Exactly, and that's exactly the point. It would be a machine with no
purpose.
with no purpose. It hasn't been programmed with anything. It's
Yeah,
like a
well,
car without a
that's
key.
where
It
you
just
you
sits
do
there.
a reprogramming, I guess, when you get home.
But the whole idea that a Terminator to complete its mission would then want, it makes no fucking sense at all. And it's just, I just can't believe anybody would look at that script and go, who fucking wrote this? You know, did you give it to your 5-year-old daughter or something when she was high on crystal meth?
Yeah, not only that, having Sarah Connor as an old lady action hero, gun-toting Terminator killer was the worst idea of all the ideas. Just terrible.
It's a terrible thing to admit, but she actually looked like she had terminal cancer at the fucking state she was in. I mean, I only saw
she
a few
looked terrible.
And her voice sounded horrible, like, you know, she'd been swallowing a cheese grater or something. It's like, no offense to poor old Linda, she obviously hasn't had a load of shit done to her over the years, but she was not in any state.
Maybe she stood too close to the volcano in here Dante's Peak.
You've been a bit cruel there, Cub, implying that she hasn't worked since the mid-90s. She did. Well, actually, that's not true. She was technically in Salvation, wasn't she? She recorded a few lines for the Christian Bale.
Technically.
Yeah, when he wasn't screaming at the sound man.
Really? This was in a finished picture? I didn't recognize that at all.
Yes, those are freshly recorded lines for the film.
Oh, okay.
You can tell because she sounds a lot older than she did in the in Terminator 2. Even then, she sounded like she'd been gargling gravel. Yeah.
Hey, wait a second. Wasn't Linda Hamilton? There was another big thing she was in.
Beauty and the Beast?
Beauty and the Beast, yeah. Or something like that.
That's the only things I can think she's ever been in is Terminator, Beauty and the Beast, and Dante's Peak. I can't think of another thing I ever saw her in.
She was terrible. Her acting was bad in this latest one.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I haven't watched it all the way through, and I don't think I ever will. But
I don't blame you.
It's unwatchable.
And now you know why I don't watch a lot of modern stuff, because it's just going to be too painful. My tolerance threshold is getting worse as I'm getting older.
Yeah,
that's
why
I watch them for our stream here. Otherwise, I would probably avoid most of this stuff.
Well, before we go any further, have either of you watched the new Amazon what's called Lord of the Rings yet?
Yes, of course. And by the way, you have all forgot her biggest role back then. She was in the first Children of the Corn. Did you forget that?
I think most people have forgotten Children of the Corn. That's why.
Yeah. Man, the central part of the country has some weird corn people.
And
there's a lot of strange people.
Greg,
it's all flat land. I mean,
Greg,
hundreds and hundreds of miles, nothing
also,
but corn. I think
also,
they go crazy in the corn.
And also, Greg, I'm really disappointed from you because you forgot she was in Resident Alien.
Oh, that's right. She is in Resident Alien. She's pretty good in that. I don't know what they did.
Alien?
Yeah, it's a TV
show.
show.
Is that? Ah, okay.
Yeah, we covered it. It's pretty good. I liked it. Cub didn't hate it.
Yeah, didn't hate it.
Yes, that's true.
That's about how it goes.
Didn't hate it. That's about as high a compliment you can give him, isn't it?
And also, you completely forgot that she was in Black Moon. And I talked about the movie a few weeks ago in my last John Carpenter review.
Cub, are you secretly her agent or something? You seem to be talking her up rather than talking her down like we should be.
But she was terrible in the Terminator movie. That's what I said. And she was miscast as some sort of action hero. And for her, like Doc says, her voice was terrible and her acting was worse. I don't know what they did to that woman, during that shooting, but oh my God, it was bad. The whole movie was awful. And all the acting was subpar from everyone. The directing was horrible. The writing was hideous. It was terrible.
Yeah, it was really.
But she was the worst. Oh, and the young Mexican girl they had, she couldn't have been like 4 foot something tall, and she's supposed to be this badass with a gun. She could barely hold the gun up. The casting was terrible.
Hey, but 4 foot. This is exactly right for somebody to look up to, or not?
Well, isn't that a thing now with these incredibly short women who can take on like machines or aliens, like that one who's in Prey? Again, that's another one I probably put on the back burner to watch eventually. But
oh yeah, we got that on the list today.
Yeah,
I'm getting mixed reports on that. A lot of people are saying it's absolute garbage, and then there's some people saying, no, it's actually not as bad as I think. Or they're doing the one which is, it's probably the third best Predator film, which is not really saying much. But
yes,
it's better than the last couple of Predator movies, and the first half was boring as shit. The second half was pretty good. I was surprised. I was expecting not to like it. I knew Cub would probably hate it, but I'm going to have to give like 3 out of 5.
Yeah, it is. It is not a good movie at all. It is Predator 1 and 2. These are for me good movies. And then
hang on. Did you just say Predator 2 is a good movie? You actually gave your thumbs up to a sequel?
Yes, because I really liked Predator 2. The only thing I couldn't stand was the miscast of Danny Glover. He was the only thing that dragged the movie down. But
you think it should have been Mel Gibson instead?
Yeah, or somebody else who is a believable action star, not this grandpa. Back then he was much too old.
That's a fair assessment.
I don't know. Yes. I actually really like Danny Glover. I thought he did quite a good
Danny
job.
Glover is not an action star. He is a good sidekick when he is with Mel Gibson, saying, "I'm too old for this shit. I can't do that." So he's kind of like a funny sidekick for a real action star. That's okay. Or if he is he plays in a drama, a character, something here with the color purple and so on. There he's great. He's a good actor, but he's not an action star. Just for jokes, like in Lethal Weapon, but not for real. He can't put a movie on his shoulder. Sorry, not an action.
Hey, we got Bazzil Battle Dragon waiting backstage, and he's seen the Prey movie.
Yeah, very cool. He can come in when he wants to. I have already sent him the invitation with Discord, and you have sent it too, or not?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
He said he's backstage, so can you check?
How can I check? He's not.
I don't know.
In StreamYards. When somebody is backstage here in StreamYards, I see that.
Okay.
So
then he's not backstage.
Yeah,
but he's definitely in the chat. So
yeah,
you
he
need to
has
get backstage. Hit your link.
He has to press the link
Oh,
before he
Bazzil
does.
must be stealth. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Maybe
so
I'll email him the link. That'll help.
so should we talk a little bit about Prey if we already started to talk about it?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so Greg, tell us everything about Prey. What's this movie about?
No, you start. I gotta send Bazzil an email.
Okay. So Prey is a prequel to Predator. It plays 300 years before the first one, 1719 or something like that, and it plays out with Indians, where Predator is landing there to hunt down animals and also sometimes people. And there's an Indian woman who wants to become a hunter, and her tribes doesn't believe in her, especially the man colleagues. And she shows during the movie that she can't hunt for shit, but at the end she hunts down the predator, of course. And that's the movie. That's it.
Yeah, but isn't this supposed to be a woman who doesn't automatically know how to fight better than all the males, and she makes mistakes, and I think she even fucks up one of the early hunts, doesn't she?
Not one, two, even. The first hunt, she
But
fucked so hard.
I think that makes it more believable, don't you?
So this is a woman who's actually got flaws.
Right.
Yeah. Yes,
that's an important point. He's pointing out an important point that you overlooked.
Greg, it's so believable that she fucks up her own first two hunts that we see. She fucks up the hunt with the lion. She fucks up the hunt with the bear, and has to be saved from the predator, which she hunts, of course, down at the end as the only one, where all people get killed by him. Especially all the other people are men, by the way. But she can trick him by letting him get shot by his own helmet, by the way. Yeah, this is no joke.
Well, now the helmet thing, I didn't understand how she was supposed to figure out how to use it, and I would think that the helmet would have to be on his head to be activated. How did she actually activate it like that?
Yeah, and by the way, how did he get his helmet on every time? Every time when he wants to put his helmet on, he has to fear that he gets shot by it, or what?
Because this is not a normal predator, is it? This is like supposed to be a lower ranking one or something, not like the one we see in the.
Yeah, he was like a feral predator.
Right.
I haven't heard the whole backstory on that, but he definitely wasn't one of our normal predator warriors.
Yes,
and the way we've gotten to the more and more extreme modern weapons fighting them, I thought it was kind of refreshing to go back to the older style.
Yes, he's a predator who has a helmet, a bone helmet, by the way. It's not a normal helmet, but it has a laser in it, which kills the enemy on its own. Supposedly, I don't know.
Was that bone from an alien?
I don't know. It looks like a skull from an alien or something like that, and yeah. So, and when he puts it off, then you see he is a predator, kind of. Yeah, whatever. So, Greg, what did you think from the movie?
Okay, so like you say, the part with the helmet, it seemed a little unbelievable. She set good traps. She had her flaws. So at first I thought it was going to be a Mary Sue overpowered, and it wasn't. She
Really?
Well, she was. The only way somebody could even have a chance would to be the most ridiculously best Comanche girl ever, which she was. But at that, a fun movie, a popcorn romp, better than the last couple of Predator movies. Surprisingly watchable. Again, I'm going to have to go with I'm probably 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, as I said, my rating is it is the best of the bad ones. It is better than the last 4 Predator movies, which means the third Predator and Predators and Alien versus Predator 1 and 2. Better than these 4 movies, but for sure it can't hold a candle to Predator 2. It's much worse than the second Predator.
I got to check on what problem Bazzil's having. I'm going to call him. Y'all hold the fort for a little bit. Watch out for Comanches.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah,
So if you put Danny Glover into Prey, would you think it would be a better film then, Cub?
If I put Danny Glover in there, no, it would.
Well, you're such a fan, you know. I thought maybe
Yeah.
that might, help it overtake Predator 2, perhaps.
Yeah, so I had to mute Greg.
I can't picture Predator 2 without Danny Glover. Sorry, I don't think it would work without him. It's some aesthetic about the film that he just fits into perfectly.
No, he's the worst part. Do you hear these noises?
I do. And not coming from you. Have you not got your headphones on?
No, they're coming from Greg. So I have to. I muted him, and I sent him a message that he knows that I have muted him. But maybe he hears us, so that he knows it anyway. So not that he's.
Well, if you muted him, he's probably shouting a lot of abuse at us now, and we can't hear him.
Yeah, no, but he can write in the chat that I have to unmute him because we can't speak together when he constantly comes these noises. That's a problem.
Well, what's happening is our voices are coming through his headset or his speakers, and we can hear it. That's what it is.
Yeah. So as I said, I thought I like even the second Predator more than the first one, if you believe it or not.
You like a sequel more than well, then again, you prefer Gremlins 2 to Gremlins, don't you?
No, but the thing is, with Predator 2, of course, the first one is the better movie. That's for sure. It's one of the best action movies ever. But I like the story of the second one. I rewatch the second one much more often than the first. And the only thing that drags the second one down is really just Danny Glover, because with a believable action star or somebody where you just believe that he is this tough cop or whatever, I don't buy it for a second, because everybody else, there was even Gary Busey in this movie. He would make a much better cop or whatever, a more believable badass who can take on the Predator than Danny Glover.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gary Busey either has to play a villain or he has to play an unhinged good guy, and in this film, it's hard to tell what he sort of is. He's just sort of like this pain in the ass Fed who's obviously got the interest of catching the Predator, but has to pretend that he's there for the gang warfare. And it's usual entertain himself, and there's a lot of teeth, but you sort of you kind of, in a way, when he gets killed by the Predator, you kind of just find yourself thinking good.
No, with Predator 2 is for me the same thing with Fright Night 2. I know that the first Fright Night is the better movie. It's one of my favorite movies. And
hang on, which one are we talking? You're not talking about the remake, are you?
No,
because there is actually a Fright Night 2 from that.
I know, but you know both movies. You know Fright Night and
Yes.
and Friday Night 2. And I rewatched the second one much more often than the first one, just because I really like the story, the progression, and so on, and because the first Friday Night is really more in the style of these old Dracula movies, like in the 70s or something like that. It's kind of a throwback, and the Friday Night 2 is really an updated version of the story. It's really more it's really more a modern take, which I like, which I really like, and I like the vampire here, the female vampire. I think is great. So
Bazzil says he's backstage.
yeah, and here we have a little bit problems with your sound, Greg. I had to mute you because we constantly hear these sound effects.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, Greg. You just solve it like you solved it a few minutes ago, when we had the same issue.
All
You're
right,
basically
I'm
trying
going
to
to
tell
switch
him
out
don't
to
speak. Yeah.
I'm going to switch out to a different device. See if you can let Bazzil in.
Yes, of course. If he comes in, he can come in. I'm not standing here at the door and don't letting people in or something like that. Like you did in Boogeyman, Greg, where you didn't want to let me into the club.
Yes, come in immediately.
Yeah, and as I said, for maybe I have watched Fright Night and Predator, the first ones, just too often. I don't know, because this is for me also a sign that these are not the same kind of classic like Terminator. Because with something like Terminator, it's or Alien, it's quite the opposite. I prefer the first one over the second one, still till today. But
Well, I saw Terminator 2 before I saw the original Terminator, so theoretically I should prefer the second one, but I do not. And as soon as I saw the first one, I realized that it was the superior film, even though obviously it was a film made on a much, much smaller budget. But if you get the story right, it doesn't matter if the budget's, small. You can still make it, a very, very strong story. And because I tried watching Terminator 2 again recently, and I actually found myself getting bored during the bit where they end up in the desert, and you've got the John Connor and Terminator bonding scene, and it just feels like it just slows the story down to a crawl, and you just don't get that at all in the first Terminator at all. It doesn't let up at all.
Yeah, the scene in the desert is really the low point, kind of, and also all these action scenes in Terminator 2. Really, every bit where they use CGI kind of sticks out nowadays. I know that they used it very carefully, but still, it's such a difference. It's really like comparison like day and night. When you see the first one, the first is really kind of perfect, I could say, compared to the second one.
Well, it's because the first one relied entirely on being a good story. It could not, what's called, boast about having, amazing special effects, could it?
And the stop motion doesn't bother me at all in the first one.
Well, that's because there's not a lot in it. That's why it's literally a blink and you'll miss it with most of the stop motion.
Yeah, it's really and even the parts where they used stop motion, they were so heavily cut down that you see the scene where this foot, the Terminator foot step, you see the two steps that it makes in the fire, and they didn't use stop motion for that. They used actual props in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of my all-time favorite scenes. It still holds up even today because of that. And the stop motion parts are really just so little. These just where it comes where it comes to the door. This is the only scene where you see that it is stop motion. But as I said, it's just, and also when he prepares his eye and things like that, it looks so real. It's so cool.
Well, like I said, is that you can obviously tell that it's a puppet now because obviously of the the age of the film, but it's still quite a thing to see is somebody just randomly cutting out their eye without any sort of reaction to it. But yeah, I mean, it's other things as well. Is that
Yes, yes, you see clearly it's a puppet because it shows they put too many emotions into the face. And
what
so
you mean?
can...
Suddenly, Schwarzenegger's acting was actually not as wooden as it was. I noticed as well that because I mean, one of my biggest problems I have at the moment with the original Terminator is that you cannot get a high definition version without the god awful 5.1 soundtrack, where they basically inserted new sound effects without giving you the option to hear the original mono. I mean, one of the biggest changes they made, which really pisses me off, is the sound, the background sound when you see through the Terminator's vision. In the first Terminator, it sounded horrific. They'd made it sound really sort of really coarse and really sort of I don't know how to describe. They tried to make it sound horrific, I suppose. And with the 5.1, what they've tried to do is match as much of the sound effect in the first one to the second one, haven't they? Like they've tried to make the sound effect of the Terminator's vision the same as the second one. They tried to make the future scenes, the weapons sound exactly like the second one. They tried to make the weapons sound the same, so a shotgun will sound like the second film. And it's like we don't want that. If you want to do that as an aside, fine, but at least put the original back in for those who appreciate that more.
Yes, I agree on that, and that's the reason why in my review I compared it and said Cameron made his edition George Lucas special in the vein of George Lucas, like he did his special editions, and and he did exactly the same thing. Try to instead of higher up the second one, he kind of lowered down the first one that it matches the second one. With supposedly new effects and so on, which were just crap. I agree on that.
Yeah, it's weird that I mean, the impression I get, having read up a lot of different forums who have the same problem I have, is that it's less that Cameron has done it and it's just MGM being lazy, which is they needed obviously a 5.1 because the original film was just filmed in mono, and that's not good for the modern audience. They want, especially the ones with their, surround sound setups. So they just basically took the speech of all the actors and then cut out everything else, and then reinserted like the music and the sound effects with new updated versions. So it just doesn't sound anything like it used to. And I've had to resort to buying a fucking DVD from America that has the original mono track on it that I'm going to then overlay onto a Blu-ray video. And hopefully then I'll have the option of the two audios that I want. Because
this is a good idea, Magic. And I don't...
Oh, wow. You can overlay audio onto a Blu-ray?
Well, not onto the Blu-ray itself, onto an actual Blu-ray rip, because those... what they called files, not MP4s. There's a particular file that you can actually add audio to without having to re-render it. I've done it a couple of times. That was with that German friend of mine's YouTube channel.
MKV.
That's it. Yeah. He's uploaded a couple of videos where he didn't realize that the audios were in the wrong order, and so
Magic, I have
when the video initially played, the language was in fucking Spanish.
Magic, I have a program where you can do that also to MP4. By the way, it's called it's a free program. It's called Avidemux.
yes, I've got that as well, and I
it's
pay for
freeware.
it as well because I believe in supporting software creators.
Yeah, and I don't believe in that. So I I have it for free, and
Why doesn't that surprise me?
with Avidemux, you can put as many sound layers as you want to an MP4. By the way,
Yeah, really.
and it doesn't render. It doesn't render it new if you put it on MP4 Maxa. It's called, or Muxa.
Oh,
So you
I
have to
see.
say, you have to tell him. You have to kind of tell him audio don't render anything or don't render anything,
Mm-hmm.
and then you just have this the second track or the third track or whatever you want, and it just takes a few seconds that he finishes a file. For example, a 2-hour movie he finishes in 20 seconds or something like that. So
Fair enough.
he's not really rendering it,
No.
I guess. But
Well,
you can also render it. You have to tell the program that you don't want it rendered. But you see that yourself. When you use it, you see it yourself.
Yes. Well, like I said, I got to wait for it to turn up first. But I was surprised how difficult it was trying to just get that mono soundtrack, because I could have swore somebody would have it. Because everybody was saying the best version, digital version, was the Laserdisc version, but not many people have those. And the actual, I mean, you need to not only buy
you just could have asked. I have the original DVDs here anyway, and they have.
Which DVDs have you got? There is one known as the Image Production or something like that. It's called. That's got the original American mono audio track, whereas on the other DVDs that had the mono track have got the international version, which has got loads of cuts in it.
I used the original audio in my first review, if you can remember, and I even say it in the review. I say I used the score from the movie and not the one from the soundtrack, because they differ from each other, as you know.
Yes, they do.
And so you can hear for yourself which version I have, because the English review has the beginning is the beginning of the DVD. So you can hear it for yourself if it's the mono track you are searching for or not.
Well, either way, it's on its way, so I can sort my little problem out, because that's got on my tits, because they seem to be getting worse as well with every sort of update that comes out in turn. Because I found a Blu-ray with a nice sort of contrast to the picture, because a lot of them have added this horrible blue tint to over the original theoretical picture, and it just doesn't look right. And I've noticed in a couple of them where they've upped the light scale a little bit, the opening scene where Arnold's walking towards the punks, in some very early versions, you used to see the old John Thomas swinging around as he was walking towards them. they've digitally removed it completely now.
Oh my God!
It's like he looks like Action Man walking towards him. There's nothing there, completely smooth.
Oh, you mean like Ken? So maybe Barbie also turns up.
Yes.
In the next version. Yeah. So you can talk a little bit to Greg, because I have to go get another beer.
That's very generous of you, Cub. How are you, OG?
Doing good. How's my audio?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Great. Yeah, we're having a lot of thunderstorms and internet having all kinds of problems. Bazzil's here in Houston too, so he's experiencing a lot of the same stuff. He's trying to get through. I see Movie Massacres in the chat.
Yeah, he is. And I keep telling him he needs to get his backside in here and, join us with his wonderful Lancashire tones all the way from Mexico.
Well, he's got internet issues too. He was hoping to get that fixed by I think November or something. if I remember correctly.
He's going for old Musk's space internet, I think.
Oh, sweet.
Well, it's good in theory, but I believe the lag is horrendous. But I don't know where he's actually based now, but he must be somewhere very, very sticks, like to have internet that bad. Even the internet in the UK isn't that shitty anymore.
Well, yeah, apparently. So you're talking about, is that the Elon Musk internet thing where they
It
have
is
the
Starlink, I think he calls it.
Starlink? That's it.
Yes. Yeah, it's basically you're connected to some satellite, what's called networks he's got up there, which I mean, yeah, it gets you to the internet and you can connect quite fast speed, but that comes at a cost of what they call lag, or if you're what's called a gamer, what's called high ping rates, which is if you're doing anything like, say, live streaming or gaming or anything that relies on good ping time, it means it can cause all sorts of problems. Like, say, he's doing a live stream with us, he might say something, but the server might not pick it up for like 10, 20 seconds. So what he's just said will appear in the conversation much later than it should have done.
Oh man, that would mess up a live stream.
I've heard people who've got Starlink and said that they thought they were going to be like gamers on Twitch or stuff like that. It just doesn't work for that. But well, like everything, I'm sure they'll find us. I mean, he is he is a innovator, is old Musk, isn't he? Is there anything that man cannot do except by Twitter, of course?
First off, welcome, Movie Massacre. Nice that you could make it. I also sent him a link if he wants to join, maybe.
You know what, Cub? He is your second biggest fan.
Huh? What?
Well, after your fellow countryman, I don't know which one's got the lead anymore. It used to be Roland Emmerich, and sometimes it's Uwe Boll. I can never remember who pays the most into your Patreon account.
Yeah, my Patreon account. You mean the empty one?
I think Cub's the only person on Patreon where actually what's called sends money to himself.
Yeah, probably. I'm the only one who pays for his Patreon account. Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming all three of you, or two of you, are actually members of Movie Massacre's Patreon account.
No, I'm not.
Sorry, but you said the word no there, Cub. That was the wrong answer. You're supposed to say, of course. In fact, I'm paying his highest tier, which is 50 quid a month.
No, because I don't support Patreon. I think Patreon is an evil company. I would never ever support this crappy company.
Yes, I said I've unfortunately had to do. I would happily chuck money. I would.
And my patrons, by the way, they sent me direct the money, like Greg, who has.
Well, also as well, I'm finding it very hard that a lot of these payment processors don't accept
Magic,
anymore.
like Greg, who has sent me $2 a few months ago.
That's true. I sent it in his Christmas card.
Wait a minute. I'm assuming, yeah, you sent it just by the post, did you?
Yeah.
I did. I sent Mima the card too with $2.
Oh, yeah. Good man.
So that's the true Patriots.
I would have sent one to anybody who wanted one, but the other people.
You sent it to Christmas him and said, "Here's a currency that still holds value, Cub. Enjoy." Oh, dear.
Yeah, I have organized a ruble to send it to Greg, but it seems like that this ruble I organized is a kind of collector item. I want to give it back and tell the person to give me normal rubles. But this person didn't really understand me when I said that.
No, ruble would be cool.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to send it to you that you kind of that you can still pay for your gasoline or something like that in the future.
Well, I used to, as part of my job back in the oil field, sometimes I'd be on Russian tankers with crazy Russians. And yeah, Yeah, that would fit well with my past.
Yeah. Yeah, as I said.
Do you have actual rubles and do OG that they might have given you as in exchange for some labor?
Any, but I should have. I would have traded them off for some, but I didn't think about it at the time.
You'd probably own most of Nord Stream 1 if you had some rubles at the moment.
We were the Russians. They bring in lightering vessels, and you have to unload part of it offshore, and there's a deadly gas that comes out of there, H2S, and so you had to be on standby. I was a paramedic rescue guy, so standing by to rescue them.
Yeah, Greg, what's our next subject? I think we have got enough praise. Have enough praise.
Well, now I've lost audio.
Or not? Huh? What? What the fuck? We lost Greg. He was such a nice guy.
He obviously gave too many Russian secrets away. He
didn't. He shouldn't have mentioned that he worked with the Russians. Now everybody assumes him a spy. Yeah, like with the Simpsons episode, and then we discovered his dark secret when Grandpa Simpson was with John F. Kennedy on a boat in Vietnam, and John F. Kennedy says, "Ich bin ein Berliner." Oh, he's a Nazi. Get him.
So when is old MM going to invite you onto one of his these podcasts that he's doing then, Cub?
He's doing a podcast? I never heard.
He is, yes. Admittedly, at the moment, it's only for the people who chuck a few, shekels his way. But I should imagine if it gets popular, because he's also got, fucking hell. There's some movie review website he's become a member on. I was reading some of his reviews. I was even tempted to leave some myself, but I thought, no, I better not, because when I've reviewed films in the past, I've got a bit of attention that I didn't want from people who seem to think I was being blasphemous about films that they love.
Yeah, who would think that?
Yeah, I wonder who.
Yeah, it must have been people who know you.
Well, he has set me a challenge anyway. He has a reputation of doing reviews of sort of obscure, awful films. I've asked him to do all your tape videos, 1, 2, and the fake tape.
Oh my God.
But unfortunately, he said he will only do so when he gets to at least 2,000 subs. So we've got a bit of work to do to get that boy up there. I mean, he's doing a good job himself, but come on, MM, don't let me down, boy. I want you to. The world's got to know about these films. I've done my best to, get them out there.
We still didn't record the audio track for the third commentary.
Well, that's not my fault. That's not my fault. I did my bit. We did 1 and 2. I've even managed to get one onto YouTube. I will do the second one at some point because I would have uploaded the one I put up to BitChute, but then I realized there's a spelling mistake in it, and nobody noticed, fortunately. But I'm not having that.
What is a spell mistake? I didn't understand.
It was on the credits. I always put at the end of my videos, where I always just put a little extra, mainly just to take the piss out of you. But I noticed in one of my comments there was a slight spelling mistake, and the spell checker didn't pick it up before I rendered it and uploaded it. It was like, oh shit! Nobody ever noticed, thank God, but it's there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
As I said, Greg, what's next? We have praised Prey enough. Now, next on the list, I would say.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Another lightning strike by me, I think, knocked me out for a little bit, but I'm back. I was going to tell you about my crazy Russians on the tanker. The tanker contained H2S. It was sour crude. And so regulations require that everybody, that's around it, when you crack it open for lightering, has contained air on, self-contained breathing apparatus. And so that's what we did. But after doing that a couple of times, well, the Russians got tired of putting on their stuff. So they just all took off their equipment and just started opening the tanks. And if had there been poison gas, of course it would have killed them. But there wasn't any poison gas. I had my meter out there, and you know what the hell? I had to live on the tanker with those guys, so I just took mine off too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Here, Movie Massacre. The tape movies. They are on my Daily Motion channel, by the way.
No, I think he wants our particular one with the audio commentary, because he did point out that there is a slight disadvantage to those Anglos who don't speak a word of German. You see, because
That's true.
with the audio commentary, you are kind of explaining what's going on in a very poorly translated manner.
Yeah, but you just
and then you've got at least 3 Brits taking the piss. You see, and that's what makes it work.
No, you just can enjoy tape in its original.
You cannot enjoy tape. You cannot enjoy tape. I'm
Klingon version or German version.
You cannot enjoy tape. You can quote me on that. If you watch it without the audio commentary, you deserve all the pain and anguish you get.
Yeah, but I have made 5 audio commentaries in German also for it.
Correct. That's if you want even more pain and anguish.
Yeah, whatever. So so then you have to send him the English.
I will correct my spelling mistake, and I will try to put it. The only stumbling block that I found last time when I tried was Peter Gunn still blocked, and that's actually quite fundamental to the beginning of tape 2, isn't it? With you and your much better looking younger brother as what's called cameo.
Yeah, he's much better looking. That's why I killed him in the first movie. Don't forget that.
Of course, you killed him. Yeah, no, he wasn't fed up of working for his older brother for no money.
I made the dream true of every big brother. I killed my little brother on screen. So how can it get better than that?
What? I don't think you did. I think those feet we saw before he exploded were not actually your brother's. I think you fooled us, didn't you?
No, they were from my brother, because it was much too expensive to make an effect. We couldn't afford that. So I told him, just stand still there. You don't have
you couldn't afford a pair of jeans and black shoes. My God, your budget was fucked.
Yeah, I tell you, we couldn't even afford a second cup of coffee. You know that. In the coffee scene, you see that, where we have just one cup of coffee that is circling.
Well, it hasn't done too badly on my good German friend's channel, because I think last time I checked, it had about was it 150 views?
Oh my God!
So people have seen it, other than just our own little small circle. And I know that shielded it a little bit on his channel a little bit. No, I mean, not to the point it was going to be detrimental and lose him loads of subs, obviously. But yeah, I think a few people have checked it out and probably thought, "What in the hell is this?" And the only big regret I have, and I doubt he'll ever listen to this, but Pete, if you're out there, please come back, because the audio commentaries we literally had just started doing were amazing and were such good fun, and it was surprising how well that edit came out in the end for Superman 4. And it almost made me want to watch the film again, until I realized that it was Superman 4 and I really didn't want to. But also, you now have, I think, 18 years to return to the internet. So Cub has to keep his promise up of watching Kroll again. It was 20 years, and that was 3 years ago that he did his audio commentary and swore he wouldn't watch it for another 20. So is it 2039? Is when Cub is going to watch Kroll again. So stand by, everybody.
Yeah, I hope till then we get a real pandemic or something like that. Because the other ones were clearly frauds. Maybe we can put our faith into the killer tomato flu, which is our actual pandemic, by the way. It is not made up here, Magic. Did you hear anything about that? the
Is
tomato
this you
flu.
segueing into the remake of the Killer Tomatoes by any chance?
No, it is. This is not a joke. People think that this is a joke or something like that. The tomato flu is a real thing that is declared from the WHO.
Well, the WWF.
WHO as the new pandemic. There were 83 people tested on it positive in India from 1.5 billion people or something like that.
So there's a tomato pandemic. Well, you're fucked then, aren't you? Since that's
No,
95%
tomato
of your
flu. Here, Greg.
that's 95% of your diet, isn't it?
Here, Greg. Have you heard about the tomato flu or not?
Yeah, I have. It's called that because it not because of anything to do with tomatoes, but it causes like a tomato-looking rash or something. And you're right; it started out in India. I think it was like 80 something, mainly
83.
little kids.
83.
I think.
Yeah, 83 people got tested on it positive, and this is officially declared. And the crazy thing is, really, 2 years ago in my surrogates review, I said at the end, we should enjoy our life now, because who knows with which pandemic they come next. And I show the killer tomato poster as example for the next pandemic. So the same picture here for this stream. And now 2 years later, they really try the tomato flu pandemic thing.
Well, you may
I think
still
it's a
get your wish.
derivative of dengue fever or something. Mainly, it's connected with not keeping yourself clean. From what I read about it, it's not a major threat. How did it, I know it was in India. When did it transmigrate to Europe?
I think a few weeks ago. They came up with they have supposedly cases here, but I didn't pay really attention because it's so laughable. They really like with the ape monkeypox thing. Now they make here monkeypox cases up in Germany, which is a fraud, as you know. But they try, and that's the thing. It's but I would say let's go back to the movies or TV series. Greg, what's next on our list?
Okay, your favorite show of all time, maybe She-Hulk.
Oh my God.
Yeah, let's discuss that.
Yeah, let's go with the worst at the beginning. So, Greg, did you see all 3 episodes?
Yeah, I did, unfortunately.
Oh, tell us everything about your new favorite superhero TV series.
Well, it starts out with She-Hulk driving along, preaching at Bruce Banner. She does a lot of preaching and about feminist dogma. Basically, the writers hate men, from what I can tell. It's the most misandrist show I've ever seen in my life. It's really boring. While she's preaching at him and not looking at the road at all because she's too busy, bitching at him basically constantly. And she UFO's in the middle of the road for some reason hovering, and she crashes, of course, because she can't just use her brakes, which would have worked fine, but apparently she has to drive off the road. And she, of course, in the original comics, he saves her, but for some reason he doesn't turn into Hulk in a wreck, and she, of course, saves him and gets a little drip of her blood on him, and this instantly makes her into...
They included a device on his arm that prevented him from turning into Hulk for no reason, by the way.
Yeah, it was very convenient, wasn't it?
Yeah, even if they already established that him turning into Hulk is no problem, since he has control over the Hulk. He's a smart Hulk. So why the hell should he wear this device anyway?
He shouldn't. It's a plot convenience.
Yeah, he doesn't need it. If he doesn't want to turn into Hulk, he doesn't. Exception, of course, he has an accident, and then turning into Hulk saves his life. So putting on this device is kind of double stupid when you see it this way.
And of course, they go back and he tries to teach her, how to control her anger. She has this weird scene in a bar where the girls dress her up like a hooker, and then she goes outside and gets, I guess, harassed by men, and she's, turning into the Hulk and basically was gonna kill them unless, but of course, Hulk comes up and keeps her from doing that. But she later has a long lecture about how she's lived her whole life dealing with catcalling. And, this is a very privileged attorney who's had everything she wanted all her life. And her biggest complaint, I can tell you, most guys have lived through a hell of a tough life and have really hard jobs.
You mean most guys like Bruce Banner himself?
Well, just day-to-day living where you have to work outside or all the stuff. Everybody puts up with the little things in life. But when you listen to her, it's like, oh, men, are all evil and women are all perfect.
And by the way, Greg, wasn't Bruce Banner even on the brink of suicide in his life because of the Hulk thing? So he had a really rough and tough time, or not?
Yeah, he really did. He had a terrible childhood,
and he lost.
He tried to shoot himself, and she's lecturing him about how much harder she's had it than. It's so ridiculous. The writing is like
by the way, he was Black Widow was together with him, and he lost her forever. He knows that she's the only person that never can come back ever because of the Thanos thing.
Yeah. So it was ridiculous, the scene so far, and her being a lawyer. She's a terrible lawyer. Her interaction with her clients are horrible. The lawyer they have there, the male lawyer who's so condescending, and it's just this paper cutout character of a bad male. Every male, of course, is bad or stupid or a combination. It's so bad. I don't know that I'm going to be able to keep watching it. I watched this stuff, but I don't know that I can even keep watching this. It's so bad. They ended up the end of the third episode with the twerking. Do y'all guys have twerking in Germany?
No, I've not seen it myself, but about a million review channels have shown it, and it does look. Is that supposed to be sexy?
Hey,
it just says like, oh look, everybody, I've got about 3 tons of lard in my butt cheeks, and it's like, yeah, no thanks.
Here, I wanted to know something from you, from you, Magic, and from you, Greg. Who is this person that is supposed to be super famous? This woman in the third episode, where at the end she had this stupid dance with what you call just. Who is this woman? Should I know her? Is she a famous person or something like that?
My music tastes do not extend past the 1980s. There's no point asking me.
Is she a musician? I don't know.
Not that I'm aware of. She may be. Like, I'm in Doc's boat. I listen to some more modern stuff like Mumford and Sons and stuff like that, but I don't know what. I'm not a.
It was not just me that had no clue what they were talking about when they talked about this famous person that everybody should know or something like that. And
I thought, it went right over my head.
Yeah,
I would have to research it to find out. But it's like anything. There are some decent modern musical things, but not that many.
Yeah, I would say it is the worst superhero action series from Marvel till now. Or even would you say it's as bad as Catwoman?
It's much worse than anything I've seen. It's unwatchable garbage.
Oh,
And I try to find positive stuff in the. If there was anything positive in this thing, I would point it out. It's terrible.
It's terrible, yeah.
It's supposed to be a comedy. It's not funny at all. I didn't laugh at all.
Do you think it's as some people have suggested that it's not actually She-Hulk? It's just the fantasies of sort of jilted 40-something women who've probably been dumped by men who've gone off with younger women, and now this is their way of getting all their cat lady frustrations out by doing a program for Marvel that nobody's watching.
Yes, exactly. I would describe it like that.
Yeah, it's a good summation. There's anything I could say.
Yeah,
if I could even speak.
It hates.
Yeah, because I've seen
episode.
that before. When like one of my morbidly obese neighbors, her husband cheated on her and fucked off, and so she decided to have some of her workmates who were all similarly aged and similarly waist, deficient, and they're out there, singing and all that, trying to make out that they don't need no man. But you just know every single one of them then went home, sat in front of the TV, blubbing their eyes out, eating a extra large tub of Haagen-Dazs. It's that sort of lying to themselves they're strong and powerful, but as soon as the reality of their lives hits them, it all just crashing down an emotional pit of hell.
Yeah, and also the breaking of the fourth wall in She-Hulk, it comes up so cheap because I know this fourth wall breaking from the comics, by the way, and there it is kind of clever and in a much funnier way, but here in She-Hulk it serves really no purpose. It's just distracts even when she starts to talk with the audience.
It's so poorly done.
Yeah. And also, it doesn't make sense because have you sentenced that when she talks with the audience, when she is at her new job, she talks to the audience so she doesn't get what her new boss is telling her, which now is really confusing because this fourth wall breaking normally, at least in the comics, is done in the way that it doesn't really interrupts the story or something like that. The story goes on.
Well, what you're not getting is that whatever the males say is unimportant.
Yes.
Yeah, and the thing is really, and she talks to the audience, and so she didn't hear what her new boss is telling her, and tells him, here and has to improvise or something like that because she has talked to the audience. So is this really the fourth wall breaking, or is it part? Because normally it doesn't distract the real story when you do that.
No, Cub. It's not the fourth wall breaking. It's the glass ceiling breaking, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because literally stopping the story for that is, and you see it in the story. It becomes part of the story. This is really how they done it. It's just yeah, but these are minor picks. The whole show is unwatchable crap.
It's
there are women.
Idea. No, go on, Dave.
Go on. There are women who have it tough. They're not these high class lawyers who have everything handed to them and are making $300,000 a year. They could have told it from a different point of view and given her a different story that would have made her anti-male stuff at least make some sense. The way they do this, she comes off as this spoiled, rich, privileged. I saw Grace Randolph of all people was talking about this, and everybody was quoting her because she called her a uber Karen and Mary Sue, which is amazing because she's a feminist.
No,
and
wait
she
a
hated
second.
her.
Greg, she said that about the Game of Thrones actress, not about She-Hulk.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Yeah,
I got it confused.
because we didn't have talked about the worst.
No, you're
thing
right. That she
you
was
get.
talking about our girl on Game of Thrones,
Yeah, because
Galadriel.
in Game of Thrones, as you said, when they lose the biggest chill on the internet, which is
But-
Grace Randolph.
But
for
I
sure.
remember what she did say about this is she said that it was so feminist that she didn't think most guys would be able to sit through it. That there was no action, and there was all this basically feminist agenda, and that that men wouldn't be able to sit through this. She thought it was over the top feminist, and she's a super feminist. So that and she did have the other deal about Lord of the Rings, which I was going to get to, and I got them confused. But there was two different points, both on She-Hulk and on Lord of the Rings, where the feminists were pointing out how over the top and too much both of these shows were.
Yes, and you clearly can see when you get somebody like Grace Randolph, when you lose somebody like that, your biggest chill, kind of, then you have lost with your show.
Yeah, because she loves feminist dogma. She spits it out herself constantly, and this is two instances where bam, she's if like you say, if you've lost her, then you've really lost the normie.
Yeah, because she even likes Miss Marvel. She even liked Miss Marvel, the worst crap ever made. And of course, now She-Hulk is the worst one. But somebody who likes Miss Marvel and doesn't like your superhero show, then you have fucked up completely.
But she's right. These are worse than Miss Marvel. Bad as Miss Marvel was, and we went through that on the last show. This is much worse.
Yeah, this is much worse. I have to agree. It's the worst MCU property till now. And I thought Falcon and Winter Soldier, you can't get worse than that, or Loki. But oh my God, I was wrong.
Well, it's bad. It's bad when the feminists turn on the other feminists. They're going too far, and that's why I brought her up. Normally, I don't bring up other, review channels, and I don't really care. I don't even watch reviews when I'm going to be watching something. But in this case, I guess a lot of people picked up on what she said, and both against She-Hulk and against Lord of the Rings, which I was going to mention about Galadriel. She hated her. That was amazing.
Yeah, and let's swap over to Rings of Prime, or not?
Yeah, we might as well. We already started on it.
Yeah. So, Greg, you're the only one I know that even knows the Silmarillion. And do you know also know the appendices? What they call them?
Yeah, the Silmarillion is a tough read. It's an appendix, basically a prequel to Lord of the Rings, and it goes through whole ages of time. So you have a lot of this person and that person, kind of like the Bible, where you'd have.
But if I have understood it right, they didn't have the rights neither to Lord of the Rings nor the Silmarillion, just the appendices.
Yes.
What is meant with that, Greg? You are the only one who can enlighten us here.
Well, I read this a very long time ago. But you had the Silmarillion, which is your prequel, and then you had an appendix, which covers whatever he didn't cover in the other part. And he's covering whole ages. So basically, they know that Elrond and Galadriel are alive in this time period, so they're using them. The rest of the stuff, they're just making up as they go along with a general outline.
Yeah, I assumed that, and also this Galadriel, how they portray her, like this warrior and so on.
They do a total disservice to her, the character.
Yeah. So what I have heard, she was never the a warrior leader or something like that. She
No,
was.
she wasn't a military person.
Yeah. So
She had power, and she was a leader, but she was female, and she wasn't part of the military structure at all. And she never picked up a weapon that I was aware of, that I read, and it would be antithetical to her personality.
yeah, but did you forget she was on a revenge trip to revenge the death of her brother or not?
Yeah, I don't remember this brother being part of the appendix. I mean, they made all this up. And
Yeah.
really, they didn't show enough of her and her brother together. It was an exact minimal scene. The very first we see of her, she's making this boat, and she sets it in a little stream, and there's other kids there. And of course, the other kids immediately throw rocks and destroy her little boat, which
Yeah.
it does not seem like an elven thing. These people don't act like elves. Let's get this out of the way. For one thing, the elves in the Lord of the Rings, they were more like beautiful people. These guys are homely, guys and girls. They're not. They look like regular humans who have little pointed ears. They could be Vulcans or something, but
Yes. Yes,
they're
this
not elves.
reminded me to totally on Kurtzman track here, where here the Vulcans and especially Spock get emotional and things like that, and get these new are really like the worst people ever, mean spirited and so on. So yeah. So this is the
And
proof that that the Discovery team also worked on this one. What I have heard.
And Galadriel, you know who she reminded me of as a military leader? She reminded me of Admiral Holdo, or whatever her name was, from
Oh my God!
Return of the Jedi. Remember,
Yeah.
she wore a I don't know, an evening gown to
No, not
her
Return of the Jedi. Last Jedi.
oh, Last Jedi. Yeah, sorry. I blotted that thing from my mind. It was so horrible. But anyway, she doesn't talk to any of her troops. She is the first we hear from the troops. They're instantly complaining, and I guess they have a right, because according to her, they've been out there for hundreds of years searching, and she's never found anything. Which
Yeah,
what kind of a searcher is she? You notice the king, he tries to send her away, which I don't blame him, and he gives her like honors. She's honored for doing nothing basically, and not finding anything. But
yeah, and don't forget, all the men in the show are kind of assholes and cowards and so on. Even her own, she has to when they are on a journey in a cave, she has to save the man from a troll or something like that, an orc.
well, oh yeah, all of her guys are getting beat up, and none of them even get their swords out to fight. They're
Yeah,
all worthless. And as a military commander, she should have had them ready for anything, but she ignores setting out guards. She ignores her duties as a commander. She's the kind of commander who is like a hot dog, who he whips out his sword and he runs forward and fights the creature himself. He doesn't give any orders. He doesn't care about his guys. As a matter of fact, she cared so little when they were going through that storm or whatever, and one of her guys fell down. She was like, "No, we got to go on. Leave him behind." You remember that? I mean,
yeah, of course.
she inspires zero
And,
confidence.
and the funny scene, she saves. She has to save the man, because the man, she's much superior, as we know, and she saves the man. And after that, of course, the men turn on her and say, "No, we don't go any further because they are cowards or whatever." Or maybe they just want to follow the order of the king. Since
Yeah, that's true. The king did order them home, and apparently they've been out there for hundreds of years finding nothing.
Yeah. So, but she, of course, says, no, I go on my own. I don't need any man to help me or something like that.
Yeah, considering how she treats her troops, she probably should go on her own.
Yeah, yeah. And so, yeah, that's for the first episode.
So
And
Jez is here.
yes,
I don't know if he wants to come on.
yeah, he has an invitation link. I sent him one on Discord. So if he wants to come in.
But let's talk about the races really quick. We went over the elves, but do you notice like the dwarves are all Scottish? I don't
Really?
remember the dwarves being Scottish. They use Scottish accents. They dress with Scottish kilt, and the hobbits, they're Irish.
Yeah, let's talk about the bluntly copying Lord of the Rings, the original one, like with the storylines. So we have we have a storyline between the brother of another brother here from Galadriel and a dwarf who is mad at him at first because of whatever he forgot his wedding or something like that. And now it looks like we get a similar storyline like in the original Lord of the Rings with the elf and the dwarf, or not?
Oh yeah,
And
except instead of 2 males, it's going to be 2 female hobbits.
yeah, and then we get the same storyline here with Frodo and what was the name of his friend?
Sam.
Sam. Yeah, Frodo and Sam, but we get it with this female ones, this god awful female ones who, oh my god, they were so bad. And also we get a scene like directly cut out of the Blob at the beginning when the meteor crashes, and instead of the Blob we get a wizard who is supposed to be Gandalf. I don't know. They don't say his name, and
Is that Gandalf, the one who comes down in the meteor?
we don't know. We don't know. It has to be Gandalf. At
God,
least
I hope that's not Gandalf.
according to Nerdrotic, it has to be Gandalf. According to Nerdrotic, who knows Lord of the Rings much better than I do, the original books and so on. But they don't say it out loud. Maybe because of right issues. I don't know.
Oh, that's probably true.
Yeah, and because he looks a little bit he looks a little bit like Gandalf, and but he doesn't speak a word in the whole first season, I think, or the whole series. I don't know. That's
Whoever is doing the hairstyling on this show is doing a terrible job. It really detracts. I mean, the Irish or hobbits or whatever, and because they're so Irish, it's hard for me to see them as hobbits from Middle Earth. It's very strange, and the way that the characters interact with the background, it makes it all seem fake. I mean, it looks
say
fake.
Irish. Hey, wait a second. You say Irish, and in the last weeks and months, Nerd had no time for us. Do you think he was cast as one of the dwarfs?
I don't know. The dwarves, the best of the races is the dwarves, but it's hard for me to think of them as anything but Scots. And this black woman they have doing as the wife of
why
Durin
do you say
is terrible Scottish accent. I do a better one.
Wait a second. Why do you think they were Scottish? Did they have a Russian accent?
What was that?
Did they have a Russian accent? Because you think they were Scottish or something like that?
Well, there was no Russian accent. No.
So the accent didn't give it away that they are Scottish.
The accents are terrible, horrible. It really detracts and the hair of all the characters is so bad that Oh my God! It just it destroys it. And of course the main character is Galadriel, and she's horrible. She's terrible. She's terrible. She complains and stuff constantly because no one believes that Sauron's out there. If this is going to be the whole show about her saying yes he is and them saying no, and not only that, when she's not there, they admit, oh yeah, he's probably there, but looking for him will fan the flame and give him more power. And they get rid of all their guys, their troops, and they disband their little outpost while they know he's out there. It make nothing they do makes any sense to me.
Yeah, this character, by the way, reminds me strongly of Captain Marvel. The whole time, I think if she's played by Brie Larson in the second season, nobody would see the difference or not.
Oh yeah, Brie would be perfect for this role, actually, because she you know.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think this could be the biggest flop in history, the biggest bomb ever, because the series they spent so much money on this series, and can you see that the normal audience, the casual viewer, is turning in for that?
It's
Well,
not
most
just that they're
people-
not interested. People are going to be actively offended by this. That's even worse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of it is that most people who have Amazon, I think, aren't actually watching Amazon Prime Telly anyway. They have it because they want the next day delivery as opposed to watching the shit TV shows that they make. I mean, my missus pays for it every month, and I only use it to get stuff I need.
Yeah.
I never watch any of the TV shows because they look awful.
Yeah, but my question is, who is this for? Because Lord of the Ring fans, they will hate it. They won't watch it. I just watch it because of the stream, because I had to talk about it for the German stream and on this stream, but I would never watch it voluntarily. Never. So and the normal viewer who doesn't know Lord of the Rings, this is just too boring as a normal fantasy series or something like that. Nothing happens there. It's boring as fuck. This 1 hour episodes. So who is this for? I don't understand.
I think who it's for, Cub, is corporate America, because this is another example of what happens when you don't allow individual like writers, directors, creative people to come up with new ideas and new concepts. And all you're getting now is basically HR departments coming up with, oh, let's buy this property, and then this is what we'll do with it. And that's exactly what's happened here, is that, Amazon saw an opportunity to get, a big named brand. Yeah, as another way of promoting Prime is being, oh, we're the big competitor to Netflix and Disney Plus.
Yeah,
You need to come here
but
because we've got all these properties now, even though what we're actually making is pure dog shit.
Yeah, it is the Discovery way and the Picard way, because it's clearly not for the fans of the movies, of the Peter Jackson movies, because they pay such a disrespect to the movies that it can't get worse than that. And it's for sure not for the book fans, because it has nothing to do with the original. It says it has nothing to do with the Silmarillion, and it has nothing to do with these appendices. It makes the story just up. They are not from these works. So it's the same thing like with Star Trek, like this modern Star Trek, where you piss off the old fans, and it's so crappy that new people who are not Star Trek fans would never turn up. Why should they? The story is boring. So yeah, I see here the biggest flop in history on television, at least.
The thing is, can it flop though on Prime? Because how do you measure it? Being a flop. Because one thing, we're not going to find out from Amazon themselves or anything that Amazon owns, because they've suspended all the viewer reviews, haven't they?
Oh, you find out when the biggest chills ever walked the earth, like Grace Randolph, turn on it. Then you can be for sure it's a flop. It's because people like Randolph. I think she saw that this thing is going to be everybody is going to turn on it because it's just that bad, and she can't defend it.
Well,
yeah.
A lot of these streaming services are going to go to having ad-supported layers or tiers, and when they do that, they're going to have to report the ratings to these advertisers, and we're finally going to get to see what these shows pull in. And I predict that within the next year or two, all of the major ones are going to have an ad-supported layer, which is going to take away their fig leaf, and we're going to be able to see when something bombed. Right now, Doc's right. They're not going to report the numbers, but it's pretty clear they spent $1 billion. They would have done better making, $50, $20 million movies, or $110 million little independent type movies, and they'd have a lot better return on their investment than what they're going to get out of this, which is a lot of pissed off people.
Yeah, or maybe use the money to make a real adaptation of Lord of the Rings, something like that. That would be
the problem with that. Any major franchise that comes out during this time of troubles, shall we call it, of the Me Too movement,
current year.
That's how they say it. Anyway, anything that's a major franchise is going to get eat up and corrupted, whereas stuff that's not a major franchise, or if you come up with your own little independent stuff, that's where we find the little gems and what good there is out there. There is still some decent movie.
Yeah, but
even nothing from our big franchises is going to survive the corruption, because that's what they attack. They eat it out from within, and it's all about the message, as some people say.
Yeah, and even an adaptation like the one from Ralph Bakshi in the 80s or 70s here from Lord of the Rings, you can clearly see that he put much more thought into his adaptation and tried to stick true to the story and so on. Then you see it here with Amazon with $1 billion. Really, it's such a shame. Also, Amazon paid more for that than Peter Jackson paid for here than the Peter Jackson movies, by the way. But it looks much cheaper.
It looks cheap. The armor looks cheap. The characters look unbelievable. The hobbits in their little village, totally unbelievable. Looks like just some people out in the field doing maybe a college play. It's that bad.
Yeah, it's that bad, and we don't have to start on the dialogue, because if we do that, then we sit here all night. I can tell you.
You know what, Cub? I think that Jeff Bezos has twigged the way that Uwe Boll used to make his movies, which they were always a tax write-off, weren't they? Which is, you just get the money to make your film, and if the film doesn't make money, you just deduct it from your tax deductibles, and you end up what's called not losing any money at all.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's definitely what they did with Batgirl. Instead of releasing it, they went ahead and took the write-off.
Yeah, apparently they've actually burnt the film, so to make sure that it never ever leaks. I mean, that's bad.
And they put the ashes in all 4 directions of the wind, by the way. And they never get together again.
Yeah.
Didn't they bury it in sacred ground or something like that?
I think they put it in the same ground where they buried all those Atari 2600 copies of each.
I remember that.
Yeah.
In Mexico.
Hey.
Yeah.
Good evening,
hey.
Yes, we're talking
That's
here.
a great avatar.
about Lord of the Rings. Could you see it? Could you
No,
see?
because you know I don't give a shit about Lord of the Rings. It's fucking boring as fuck.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
Jezza,
You know what?
needs a
When I
needs a
was
voice like this now, doesn't he?
when I was watching it,
By
I was
your
thinking,
command.
this is exactly how Jez the other Lord of the Rings. You're exactly right. The boring as fuck is what this new one is. It's exactly that.
Yeah,
However,
it's-
you
I
saw the
couldn't care
other one.
less.
That's how I saw this one. Bad.
yeah, it was just bad.
I couldn't give two shits. I have no shits to give about the films, the TV shows, the books. Couldn't care less.
Funny enough,
Yeah.
that's the same attitude I'd have, Jezza. I tried watching the 78 animated version once, and I just fell asleep after about half an hour. It was
That's
so
because
fucking
it's
boring.
Boring.
Exactly.
Hey, the 78 animated one is the one I was talking about a few minutes ago. The Ralph Bakshi one, by the way, and it is
Yes, we know it's
it is
Ralph Bakshi.
good.
Yes.
It is good. It tries to stay true to the source
It's good
material.
at curing insomnia, Cub. That's the only thing it's fucking good at. It's crap.
Mm.
No, it's not crap. You just both are two stupid Brits who have no clue what they're talking about, and of course they have no clue about literature. So
Excuse me. Tolkien
was written by
British, so
a-
shut the fuck.
You are aware that Tolkien was a Brummie, don't you? Which makes him a Brit. So
Indeed.
we have the right to say that we know when a fellow countryman has written a very boring story.
yeah, but he hasn't. You have no clue. You don't even know your own country, man.
Right.
Your own
fucking
own
wizards
people.
and
Yeah.
spells. Fuck me.
Yeah,
What are you, 10?
And by the way, we have here a visit from Germany, Thomas Anderson. Thomas Anderson here from the Matrix. From the Matrix.
Thomas Anderson.
Ja, Thomas Anderson. Schön, dass du da bist, Thomas.
What he said.
He said good evening.
He's actually speaking in a superior language, Cub.
Yeah.
I think you should stick to that.
Yes, sure. No, he speaks English. He can
Well, obviously,
understand
yes.
you well. It's not like with you when you are on the German ones and you don't understand a word or something like that. No,
Well,
Germans speak more than one language. Not just
They have to, because otherwise nobody'd understand each other.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, sure. So, Jess, could you watch the Samaritan?
I did. Yes, I did.
Yes, you can. Yes, you do. You could.
That's
So
that's an hour and 40 minutes of my life I'll never get back.
Yeah, so tell us everything
Glowing
about,
review coming up.
your new favorite superhero movie, and tell us on which comic it is based, by the way, you as a comic expert.
Well, as far as I know, I have no idea about its source material. I think it was just made up, maybe, but fuck me. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, just made up during shooting, I think.
Is it another Rocky 5, is it?
All the violence is all PG, but everybody's getting shot, people are getting bashed, but it's all done in a nice kid-friendly way. There's no fucking gore, there's no nothing. And the fight scenes are all inconsistent as fuck.
Yeah, and talking about people who are missing or things who are missing, what's up with the other superheroes or supervillains? There was just one superhuman being there. Just Sylvester Stallone. And everybody
Yeah.
else was a casual human or not.
Well, yeah, plus I didn't get why they started, when they joined the bad guys' gang, the people on the street, then they started smashing and looting their own shit. It's like, what are you fucking doing, man? You live in that town.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, the film was just dumb as fuck.
Yeah, and also these.
Yeah, at least got to go to the rich people's neighborhood and loot there. There's nothing in those poor people's neighborhood.
Is
You
it
don't go looting
possible
on
as
your own
an
doorstep, do you?
is it possible
rule
as an
number one of
unintended
looting.
comedy though, Jezza?
Pardon? What was that, bollocks?
I said, is it possible as an unintended comedy?
Well, it's funny, yeah, but I don't think it's meant
Well,
to be.
is it unintentionally funny though?
Yeah, sort of, I
Well,
guess, in places, because it's
that's
just
okay.
ridiculous, the amount of violence. Yeah, it's just bullshit.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and the superhero fight at the end, where
With all the
Samaritan.
badly done CGI fire. Fuck
Yeah,
me.
where the Samaritan or Nemesis or whatever fights a regular guy.
Exactly, yeah.
Fights a regular guy, which should be on the ground after the first hit normally, like
Yeah,
the other regular guys.
Don't forget, he's got fucking Mjolnir or whatever the fuck his hammer is. I don't fucking know. Forged through hatred. What the fuck? How can you forge a hammer through hatred?
Yeah, and I suggested when you were not here, I suggest we already talked about Samaritan, and I suggested when the hammer was forged through hatred, so we are clearly now in the Care Bear universe, extended universe. So he should forge a shield with love or something like that.
No, dude, I've seen the Care Bears movie when I was a bit younger, and I'd rather watch that again any day.
Yeah, because it's much more logical. Because when he makes a hammer through hate, the other one should make a shield through love, or not?
It's just fucking rubbish.
Well, telling it from the kid's point of view, it kind of reminded me of the old late 60s Godzilla movies where you had Godzilla and the little kid. I thought that dragged the movie down.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's essentially supposed to be a fucking kids movie because judging by how scaled down the violence is.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what they did to Godzilla. They turned it into a kids movie, and so they put the kid in, kid's point of view. The violence is all reduced.
Only in a few of them, though. Only in a few of them.
Right. It was just during that period. But something about it kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah, but they really had balls to make a superhero movie with just one superhuman being. Because when you think about it, there were nothing. There was no stakes, nothing. Everyone just a regular guy, and there was just one superhuman being there.
Yeah, but it was an Amazon original. Do you think Jeff Bezos is going to fork out more money than he has to?
No.
They paid Stallone and the CGI people for the fire, and that'll do.
No, it was not Amazon. I think it was. Wasn't it Universal or something like that?
No,
but it was an Amazon original. It was
Netflix. Netflix, I think it was.
I think it was Amazon, but you could be right. Either way, it was one of them. But I'm pretty sure it was Amazon.
Yeah, I think it was Amazon. It might be Amazon.
Yeah, hang on.
Anyway.
Yeah, it is. It is Amazon because Amazon have bought all the rights to MGM because they bought MGM, haven't they? And I noticed it was an MGM movie as well. So yeah, Amazon.
God.
Yeah, okay. Then it was again Amazon because we are talking about another Amazon thing here, about a lot of the primes or whatever, and yeah, so Amazon fucked up twice last week. Nice.
You know what that means, don't you, Cub? Because one of the properties that MGM own is the Terminator franchise. That means that Bezos got his hands on that now.
Oh my God! Yeah.
He probably sees that as fucking prophecy, fucking Skynet and whatnot.
What we clearly need is a direct-to-TV Terminator, so that Terminator makes the same progress, the Terminator franchise, as the Predator franchise, where it's now a TV movie.
Well, everything's a TV movie now, dude, because they throw fucking loads of money at it, man, and try outdo each other, don't they?
Yeah.
They spend so much money and yet the effects look so shite. That's what I can't get my head around. I mean, everybody must be on top whack to what's called, be paid so much to produce so little.
It depends, though. If you've got a release date for the movie already and you've got to hit that release date, which I'm sure were probably clauses in the conditions of everything.
True.
You can't rush CGI, as you know, bollocks. You've got to take your time with it and render it properly. But if you've got a deadline, it's like, fuck it, 3/4 done, that'll do.
Well, obviously, nobody told Warner Brothers that before they released Justice League.
Yeah, these movies, these TV movies, they have insane numbers with the costs. They say 100 million, 200 million. And I say, huh, really? For a TV movie? Wow.
That's what makes me think a lot of these have got to be tax write-offs, haven't they? I'm almost certain that this Amazon series is definitely that, some kind of fucking fudge for Amazon.
Yeah. The most expensive TV show ever made, apparently.
Yeah, 1
Mm.
billion. They paid 500 million for the rights, and 500 million they put into the show, which 56 million per episode or something like that. So really expensive. So 2 episodes, which is kind of like one movie, is over 100 million. 100 million.
That means then there's probably about 10,000 East European drivers in this country who are shitting their pants that a TV show could end all their jobs. Because, we don't want Amazon Prime going away, getting your unnecessaries on a Sunday afternoon because you were too lazy to go to the shop.
Yeah.
The whole idea of all that being brought down by a god-awful TV show, it doesn't bear thinking about, does it?
Well, we know Amazon supports the Ukraine effort by employing it as its drivers for minimum wage.
Yeah.
Support the Ukraine effort by bringing all their best men over here to drive transits.
Yeah, for minimum wage.
Yeah.
Dear.
And also we know that Amazon made
Apparently, the cups you pee in are free, though.
and we also know that Amazon made at least a few hundred billions over the pandemic, and so that is why I said in one of my videos that I think Amazon is responsible for this Corona fraud. And this was the one, by the way, I said that 2 times in 2 videos, and these were the 2 that got banned from YouTube, by the way, when I said that.
Only the 2. You've done well.
Yeah, the one in German and the one in English. Yeah, on the English channel. You're Quiet Earth and Shrinking Man. Incredible Shrinking Man. So, yeah, so that is no coincidence, I think. Let's see where this goes. So, what's the next on our list, Greg? I think Lord of the Rings doesn't deserve more attention, or not?
Yeah, I agree. A fun little one, Solar Opposites. Did you get a chance to see that, Jez?
I checked out halfway through season 2. I didn't bother with season 3.
Oh, that's
okay. Well, the newest season, what is it? Season 4, basically similar to what we've had before. You've had Adventure Ball, which is the tiny humans that they've captured. You've got the story of the larva or whatever. It's just a fun little animated series. I like it.
I got bored of it.
Yeah, I also thought it is okay. It is not. Yeah, and by the way, Thomas Anderson, I have seen Bullet Train. Greg, did you also see Bullet Train?
I did see Bullet Train. Me and Bazzil went to see it.
Yeah, cool. So we can talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. And Jess, have you already seen Bullet Train?
No.
Yeah,
I have not.
But we know that you are the biggest Guy Ritchie fan, and this is in spirit of Guy Ritchie.
So it's shit then.
No, and it's from the guy who made the John Wick movies.
Well, there you go. I don't like them.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and Magic. Have you seen Bullet Train? Maybe.
I haven't seen anything by Guy Ritchie since probably Snatch, because there is a very definition of a one-trick pony.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, but
Lock, Stock, and Snatch. Then the rest of his movies.
It's exactly the fucking same all over again. Same cast.
But it's the movie is not from Guy Ritchie. It's in the spirit of a Guy Ritchie movie.
In the spirit of a Guy Ritchie. So in other words, then it's a gangster film. Has it got Vinnie Jones in it somewhere?
Yes, it's a gangster film which has these fast cuts and it's like you can compare it a little bit to John Wick because it's from the same director from the John Wick movies, and it's not bad.
So he's another one-trick pony then.
What a quote, Bazzil from the chat. He says, "Absolutely, it's great. I highly recommend it." So Bazzil liked it.
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about it. To complete with Solar Opposites, I like this third season. It was okay. You get more from the story, from the people behind the wall, and so on, which I liked, and it is not worse than season 2 or something like that. I would say it is even little bit better. The third season, I think, is even a little bit better than season 2. What would you say, Greg?
I may give it another shot then, maybe, if it's better than season 2, because I wasn't much for season 2. That's why I checked out.
Yeah, and Greg also checked out. So let's talk a little bit about Bullet Train. Can't talk about it when Greg is not here. Greg, it's nice.
Yeah, I'm having heavy thunderstorms here, so I keep getting knocked out.
Yeah, it's nice that the storm brought you back. So, what did you think about Bullet Train?
Well, let's see. You had the girl who, a little unbelievable as the master criminal's daughter, who was the white demon or whatever in Japan. Is a white guy, and that he was the one who set everything up. You had the two. They called them brothers, but one's black, one's white, so maybe they're adopted or whatever. It was a little
maybe
at first a little unbelievable with its plot points, but after a while it grew on me like a mold, and okay. It was kind of a John Wick type thing. It had action, it had decent acting, and okay.
So that
I'll
makes
give
it definitely better than John Wick straight away.
Yeah, a little better than John Wick. You know, you had it was a good enough show. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I'll give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, first off, let's tell the people what the movie is about. It's about a train, which is called Bullet Train, by the way, because it is a fast
Yes,
train.
everybody knows the Bullet Train, Cub.
That stops. Has stops just for a minute and then goes on, and these stops are a part of the story because these are opportunities for the people in the train to escape or for new people to come in for 1 minute, and it plays nice in this story. And on this train, it turns out during the story that this train is full of contract killers or something like that. And our main character wants to rob grab a case with money. There is money and drugs or something like that. And he doesn't know that the train is full of contract killers. And when he gets there, then he discovers that. And
did you just say the protagonist is called Case?
No, the protagonist.
It's not Casey Ryback. You're not talking about Under Siege 2, because that's what this
no,
fucking plot sounds like.
No, he gets the order to steal. He's also a contract killer, but this time he doesn't have to kill anybody. Supposedly, he just has to steal a case full of money and drugs, I think, or something like that.
That sounds like the fucking plot to Under Siege 2 to me. So they're now ripping off Steven Seagal films.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, something like that. And but when he gets on the train, then he discovers that it is full of killers, who wants to kill him, and also wants this case, or this suitcase or whatever. And that's kind of the story.
You're not selling it very well, Cub.
Yeah, because I'm not a big fan of the movie. I thought it was okay. You can watch it one time, but it tries to be funny and here, like these Guy Ritchie movies where clever and funny. They try to be clever and funny, also with the dialogue and so on, and with these action scenes. which I'm like kind of bored of when I see that in movies nowadays, because when you saw it back then with something like Snatch or something like that, it was okay. But now it's just for me just a repeat, kind of. The movie takes itself not so serious, which is okay. For one time watching, it's okay, but I would never watch it again or something like that. It's not that kind of movie.
Well, that's a bit of a letdown, Cub. I thought you were going to tell us.
I
there's
think
actually
if
a
you
new
gave
film
it
you
5
like.
or 10 years, you could watch it again. But it's not something I'd run out to watch again. It was good, one time at the movies. It's the kind of thing you want to see on a big screen, when you got a buzz.
When I want to see a train movie in 5 or 10 years, I would rather watch Runaway Train or Trans-America Express, something like that. That I would watch for sure in 5 or 10 years again. But
I definitely snuck in a couple of beers, and that made it better.
But I would never ever watch Bullet Train again, because it is not this kind of movie that has something unique or something like that. It is more really by the numbers clone of a match up of something like Snatch and John Wick. It's not more than that, and it has no depth to the story or the characters. They are all like cartoon characters, kind of. You can't.
Hey, I'll say this: it was the best thing that was out at the movies at the time, and I was surprised that we actually liked it. But you definitely need some beer.
Yeah, or Snowpiercer. Yes.
Yeah,
Thomas,
Snowpiercer. There you go. Good
Thomas,
one, Thomas.
This is one I would go back to. As I said, if I want to watch a train movie that is entertaining and has also a little bit depth to it, I would watch Runaway Train, Snowpiercer, or Trans-America Express. But I would here Silver Bullet. I think it's called. No, it's called Silver Bullet in. No, you call it.
You want a good train movie? Try Emperor of the North. Have y'all seen that?
Emperor of the North? No, never heard of that.
Well, there's your assignment. You need to watch it.
Hey, what's the correct German title? I don't know this made-up English titles for the movies.
It's got Ernest Borgnine.
All right.
Okay.
One of the most underestimated character actors.
Wait a second. And Lee Marvin?
Yes, where
yes,
he's a hobo.
I know it. Yes, this is a Robert Aldrich movie or not?
It could be.
Yes, it is. It is. The German title, the correct German title ist Ein Zug für 2 Halunken.
It's a great train movie. You really should watch that. It's from the early 70s. It's set in the Depression, and that's back when hobos used to jump on trains and ride them. And Ernest Borgnine is one of these guys who goes down the train knocking off hobos. And my grandfather actually was a railroad man during that time in the Depression. So I had some stories about that directly related to when I watched this movie. So to me, it was a little more personal, but it was well done. It depicted what things were like in America at the time on those railroads. You watch that and you'll learn something.
Yeah, it is. This is a great movie with which plays out in a train. I agree on that, and I liked it back then when I saw it. It's with Lee Marvin, and also there was another.
I forget who played the kid in it.
Yeah, there was another famous actor. I also.
I can see his face, but I can't think of it.
I know that in the movie his character name was Cigarette. that was his name in the movie, but the actor's name I forgot.
So Jez and Doc, y'all haven't seen the movie?
No, I haven't seen that.
No,
or if
it doesn't ring a bell.
Or if I have, it's not
Yeah,
been for
Jez,
a very long time.
for sure, Jess, you have seen it. The movie with Lee Marvin and
Ernest
Ernest
Borgnine.
Borgnine, where they're on the train. It's also it's a Robert Aldrich movie.
It's a really good movie.
Yeah, this would be the only Robert Aldrich movie you haven't seen, Jess. That can't be. And it's one of his best.
No, it doesn't ring a bell. I may have seen it many years ago.
Yeah, I'm sure you have. I'm pretty sure you have. You just don't come on the name or something. What is this called in English again, Greg?
Emperor of the North.
Emperor of the North. Yeah, what a stupid name. No, the German title is a train for two crooks or something like that. That's the German translated title.
Yeah, very, very catchy there, Cub.
Yeah, as I said. If you had said
They call it
title,
the wheels on the train go round and round.
hey, if you had said this title directly, Greg, then I would have recognized it immediately. Yeah, so
well, that's a train movie I can highly recommend. So we were talking about train movies for some reason.
And Bullet Train is not a train wreck, for sure not, but it's also not this kind.
It's a good one-time flick. If it's the only thing out and you got a buzz, you're probably gonna like it.
Yeah, it's okay. It's really, but you can't give it more praise than that.
No, hey, but today, that's pretty good. It's high praise for 2022.
Yeah, I can think of a film I saw recently that was based on a train. It's actually on Jazz's channel, Minder on the Orient Express. That's a very good film, actually. I was struggling to think. I can't think of a single train movie. Well, the only one that came up was what's called Under Siege 2, but that's not really recommendation. And I thought, oh yeah, Jazz's got that up on his channel. That's actually quite good. Yeah. Although really, you've got to be British to really get it, haven't you?
Yeah,
but we forgot the best train movie of all times, The General.
Oh, yeah, indeed. I'll go with that.
Yeah, so
or Silver Streak with Pryor and Wilder.
Yeah, that was good.
But this is the one I meant. Trans-America Express. It's called
Silver Streak.
Yeah, here in Germany, it's called Trans-America Express.
Nobody cares about your
Silver Streak was excellent.
Yeah, but that
was a comedy.
Yeah, but this. Wait a second. It is but in the movie itself, it's also it is the Trans-America Express, which name is Silver Streak. In the movie,
yes, we do get the connection, Cub. Yes.
Yeah. So. Yeah, as I said, this is the one I meant when I said Trans-America Express, Silver Streak.
Mm-hmm.
But these stupid original titles, which make no sense, I rather use the German ones. Yeah, which normally have alien or killer in it, which Greg knows. So
they'll care about a movie in German must have been quite horrific then.
So has anybody besides me watched Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon?
I have.
Yeah, so because Jess, have you watched it?
No, because I don't like Game of Thrones, so why would I watch it?
Yeah, okay. And Magic for sure has not watched it, or did you?
I've only ever watched one episode of Game of Thrones, and I thought I was just basically watching a well-made porno.
I made it to 3 episodes. I couldn't take it after that.
It's just basically costume drama with lots of shagging and killing. It was like, yeah, I can only put up with this for about 5 minutes.
Yeah. By the way, Thomas Anderson, I think he asked. It's a question to you, Greg. He wanted to know if you watched it in the cinema or in the or at home. Yeah, Bullet Train, I think.
It was in the cinema. I was just tight.
Yeah, I think you watched it with Bazzil together or not?
Yeah, me and Bazzil were romping around, drinking, and we wanted to go to a movie, and we were going to see something else, and that was the best thing they had. And we were surprised that it was actually good. See, Bazzil says he actually liked it.
Yeah, it's compared to to the crap today, it's okay. It's not a bad movie or something.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like you
I'm-
say, a
I'm-
one-time watch. I wouldn't watch it again, but it was good for what it was. I was expecting something like a John Wick type deal, and that's what I got, and that was okay. I could pick it apart quite easily, but I don't want to because I try to be positive. I have Cub here to pick stuff apart.
Yeah, picking stuff apart. Let's go on with Game of Thrones. So, Greg, what do you think about this prequel?
Well, I thought it was kind of boring. So far, you have a joust where people are allowed to like trip the other horse and stuff that would never be allowed. Dishonorable tactics. A pretty boring story about he had a girl, so she can't be king because girls are not boys, and boy, that got old pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The writers said that they added the childbirth scene where she dies in childbirth because of the politics in America and the Roe v. Wade decision.
Oh
So
my God.
I don't like politics shoved into my my entertainment.
Yeah.
Basically, I haven't decided yet, but I haven't seen anything that I like so far.
Yeah, but compared to Lord of the Rings,
Compared to Lord of the Rings,
okay.
it's great.
Yeah.
If you're going to compare it to Lord of the Rings, oh my God, yeah, it's so much better. The armor looks actually, decent, like real armor would. Now remember, I was a member of Society of Creative Anachronism, where you go out, you build your own armor, you have battles and stuff. So I know armor, and it's like watching Excalibur or watching some Robin Hood show from the 50s or something on the quality of armor. The stuff they're wearing in Lord of the Rings is plastic trash. The stuff they're wearing in Game of Thrones is a lot better.
Yeah, I agree on that. And also, we get in Game of Thrones something like characters. At least even they are boring. Yes, I agree on that. But at least they try. At least they try to give us a little bit of character development and things like that.
That's true. We're getting some very slow, very shallow character development. So yeah, maybe it's going to get better too. And I like the dragons. You got a lot of dragons. Maybe we're going to see more dragon fighting. The sets look a lot better if we're comparing to Game of Thrones. I'll praise this all day because it's. I mean, if we're comparing, to the Ring, it's so terrible. I can't even. I keep blocking it out of my mind. But this is way better than that. I can see why this is it's not as good as the first one though. Not by a long shot, but it's getting slowly better. Maybe. And I'm trying to be positive, guys.
And do you actually think that they deliberately brought out this new prequel to Game of Thrones just as the Amazon Lord of the Rings was starting because they knew they would get the comparison of how bad Lord of the Rings was going to be, so it would make what they put out look even better by comparison?
Yeah, and it's working.
Yeah, it's working very well for them because normally, if they would have made a Game of Thrones series, a prequel like they did, people would remember, oh my God, Game of Thrones, they fudged it completely up with the last 2 seasons, season 7 and 8, a catastrophe beyond belief. And now, really, it's like sent from God, this present, that Amazon did make an even bigger catastrophe on screen. And so people now can forget the catastrophe which was Game of Thrones. Because till then, this was the biggest catastrophe, what they did to Game of Thrones with season 7 and 8 when it comes to TV series. which they completely fucked up. And but now we have Lord of the Rings, which takes the heat away. And this prequel series looks now so good and so great, and you see it also in the reviews, because normally most of them would be rants, but now they make this comparison with Lord of the Rings and say something positive about it. See the positive things and say, oh, there is character development and things like that.
Well, bringing your product out at the right time, does have its advantages. So, and I don't think it would have escaped their attention that the new Lord of the Rings looked absolutely abysmal. So it doesn't matter how shit our product looks compared to that. It's going to seem like the greatest thing that's ever been released.
Yeah, the timing is brilliant. HBO this time has really good luck with the timing, and it looks like Game of Thrones gets maybe a chance to redeem itself a little bit, but still, this series leads to Game of Thrones. It plays 200 years before the Game of Thrones series, and it leads still to the Long Night. So and also they put a mentioning that they changed the original story and put in a mentioning of the Long Night, which is stupid. And also they use the theme from Game of Thrones in the title here with the from the second episode on. They use the same theme as Game of Thrones, and they have even a kind of similar looking here beginning with in Game of Thrones. You have these buildings that come up at the beginning, and you see the you see the what you call it, the Landkarte. Fuck. You see the map at the beginning from Game of Thrones, every episode, and it shows you where this episode plays. But this time, and you see the buildings grow from the ground. But this time you have a kind of bloodlines or something like that, which don't tell you anything. At least for me, they didn't tell me anything. It just looks good, I guess, but it doesn't. It for me it looks like a cheap knockoff of the other of the map thing. Yeah, but as I said, that besides that, it's okay. You can watch it. I would also never watch it again or something like that. But it's still better than Lord of the Rings. That's for sure. So I'm missing Greg here. Looks like he has technical difficulties because he has a storm over there.
Yeah, it's called a bolt of lightning, I suspect, Cub.
Yeah. So Jess, have you seen maybe this movie from George Miller?
No, you were on about it on Wednesday, but I forgot all about it, dude.
Yeah, 3,000 years of lunging. Yeah. Another flop, by the way. Another bomb.
Is that Mad
Yeah,
Max?
well, that
George
doesn't
Miller?
mean it's a bad movie.
No, it doesn't mean it's a bad movie, but it's also not a good movie. It is a mediocre movie, which is kind of boring. You have this 3 wishes thing again with the genie, and yeah, but it's hard to describe. Let's see if Greg comes in and has seen it, then we can a little bit talk about it. But if not, then
Well, there you go. I've just opened the page on IBM. IBM? Fuck me. IMDb.
oh, on your you mean on your IBM?
So once it's over, I've got a reminder to look for that movie. So
yeah, it's not bad in the sense of unwatchable or something like that, but it's kind of boring. And also you see people with masks in it, which I hate, because they shot it during the pandemic, and they had to leave. I think they had to leave Australia or something like that because of the insane restrictions, and finished it in England or something like that. And so the costs went up to 60 million, and it pulled back till now something like 2.5 million or something like that. So it's already a huge bomb.
Well, that doesn't mean anything.
No, and I can see clearly why, because as I said, it is not really that interesting. It's about a woman that an archaeologist or something like that. Not an archaeologist. She is. She knows about books about legends and mystery stuff and so on. What are these books are called? Because that's the angle of the story. She knows everything about these 3 wishes thing. When about stories where a genie comes up and you get 3 wishes,
Yeah.
and so she knows that they all end bad. That there is never a happy end, and so she doesn't want to wish anything. But the genie, when he gets freed from his bottle, if he can fulfill 3 wishes for somebody. But these
Yeah,
wishes,
that's how the story goes, Cub. Yep.
yeah, but the thing is, the 3 wishes, in his case, they have to come from the heart. They have to be the real wishes, not just wishes something like, oh, okay, I wish a Coke or something like that. No, they have to be from real wishes, with what you call it, desire, real heart
Yeah.
desires. And he could manage that. That somebody that he could fulfill for somebody three desire wishes. Every time something happens, the person dies before he can make the 3rd wish or something like that, and so on. And that's the story. So yeah, and to convince this woman that has now the 3 wishes, he tells her 3 stories to convince her that she should make a wish. 3 stories from wishes he already made true. But it's kind of counterproductive because they all end bad. So it's really, yeah, as I said, that's kind of the movie.
Yeah. I'll give it a watch.
Yeah, as I said, I'm not going to rewatch it anytime soon, even if I have an upcoming George Miller retrospective for next year, and I'm going to redo the George Miller one, so to include that. It's not a rehash when I include a new movie.
Of course it
Matt.
isn't. Oh, dude, that film, it's a new film. There isn't a good copy out yet. I don't want to, so I'll have to wait.
No, there is isn't there a good copy out there? I don't
Is
know.
there? Well, I'm not looking now, Cub. I'll look after, but I
No,
assume so because it's give the cinema listings for it as well. So
yeah. So as I said, I hope that that Greg comes in soon. So could you watch? No, wait a second.
I think you forget, Cub, that some of us actually have lives.
or jobs or
Yeah.
other responsibilities. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Jess. Could you watch anything in the last days?
If you could just fit it into your diary somewhere, Jez, just get your girl to put it in for like Thursday at 3
Yeah,
o'clock.
yeah. Pencil me in, Shirley. No, I haven't really watched anything apart from wasting fucking time watching Samaritan.
Yeah, Samaritan, which was just so boring. It was so boring.
I watched that terrible remake of Cash Truck, which Greg recommended. Fucking hell, Wrath of Man. Jesus. There's another fucking time waster.
Was it an actual recommendation, was it?
Well, not a recommendation as such. Greg did a video on it and it sounded interesting.
Right.
But I didn't realise that I'd already seen the original French movie, Cash Truck, which it's a remake of. A very poor remake at that.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's a later Guy Ritchie film from fucking last year, so
Guy
there
Ritchie.
you go.
Is this one of the many streaming service films he's now making?
Well, judging by the fucking badly done CGI blood, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but we can talk a little bit about the Killer Tomatoes because it's in the title. I guess you have seen all the Killer Tomato movies, Magic and Jess.
I've only ever seen the original once, and it was probably in the late 80s or early 90s. I can't remember when I saw it, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, and yeah, wait a second, Jess. You haven't seen part 2, part 3, part 4?
I've seen the second one as well, but I don't think I've seen 3 and 4.
Because part 2 and 3 came out kind of at the same time. I had the feeling back then, or in a short time between them. And the fourth part, I was completely surprised when I discovered that it plays in French, by the way. And I haven't seen it because I couldn't get my hands on it till now. And that's the reason why I can't start to prepare a video on it because I wanted to make a Killer Tomato retrospective, but till now I couldn't get the fourth one, the French, the one that plays in French.
It's actually a French film, or
Is
just
it?
set in France.
No, it's just set in France. That's what I got from the description. And yeah, it's called Killer Tomatoes in Paris or something like that. I think, and it is from the same guy, from Michael De Bello or what's his name, which just did the Tomato movies, by the way. It's the only direction credits he has.
Well, let's face it, he's not going to get a job doing anything else, is he?
No, it doesn't look that way. So till Greg manages to come in here again, we can talk a little bit about the Killer Tomatoes. So the first one, I think is quite okay, or not? Because sometimes it's described as the worst movie ever made or something like that.
No. They clearly haven't seen Manos, the Hands of Fate.
Yeah, and also they something like Killer Tomatoes say this is the worst movie ever made doesn't make any sense because Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is a comedy. It's not meant serious.
Well, yeah. And considering its budget as well, you know what I mean? I think they all just chipped in each other's welfare check for that month and made the movie.
Yeah. So first off, it's a comedy, and so because the other bad movies in this category are something like Food for the Gods and so on, which is a bad movie because it's meant serious and it is god awful. Yeah.
Is that the one where the black guy finds the Coke bottle?
No, it's the Food for the Gods is the one with the rats. Yeah, it's the H.G. Wells adaptation in quotes.
That's a very random thing. Black guy finds a Coke bottle.
Oh, I know what I'm thinking of. The gods must be crazy. That's the
Yeah.
one with the black guy who
Mm.
finds a Coke bottle.
No, here Food for the Gods is the one where they are on this island where where a couple, an old couple or something like that, finds something coming from out of the earth, and they call it food of the gods. Here the shortage for it, FOTG. That's the only connection it has with the story from H.G. Wells, by the way. Just the name. It is because the original story, I talked about it in my review, in my Island of Dr. Moreau review, and it has nothing to do with the story. It is another movie from this hack, what's his name, who got who made Empire of the Ants, another H.G. Wells adaptation. If you can remember. It's the one with John Collins or something like that.
I know I've seen Empire of the Ants. I know I have. I may even have it on DVD somewhere.
Yeah, there was a time where this hack had got the rights for some H.G. Wells stories, and I mean Bert E. Gordon. He's if you have ever heard of this director. Yeah, Greg, nice, make it back. We were
Walk my way
improvising.
back.
Yeah, we were improvising here with some tomatoes.
He's pedaling his ass off right now on his backup generator.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
I got my beer.
so it's like with in Soylent Green. You are here on your bike trying to make some energy.
So your next review is going to be on the Lone Wolf and Cub movies. We wanted Bazzil here because he's been watching them left and right, but I know that Jez has at least seen these movies, so that would give us something to talk about.
Yeah, but we could also skip the Lone Wolf and Cub one for next time. Put it for
When Bazzil's going to be here, we could do that.
When Bazzil is here. So because my review is coming up on Wednesday anyway, and so it would be then after the review, which makes more sense.
Yeah, it would spoil it, and nobody would watch your review.
Yeah.
Nobody watches them anyway.
Yeah, that's true. So
Below the belt, but I like it.
so I was talking a little bit about Bert E. Gordon, if you can remember the name. Greg, he's the guy who fudged up some H.G. Wells stories in the 70s, if you can remember, Empire of the Ants and Food for the Gods and another one. So yeah, and what was the there was another Village of the Giants is also from Bert E. Gordon. Yeah, but I think Food for the Gods is his most famous one because it got voted as worst insect movie of all times or something like that. And on that insect worst animal rage movie of all time or something like that.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
I've seen some pretty bad insect movies.
Even worse than Slugs? That's a pretty fucking
There you
awful
go,
film.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. And also, I think it was before Slugs. It's from 1976, and I think Slugs is from the 80s or not?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be very popular on Men and Movies.
Yeah. And yeah, as I said, but let's go back to our regular theme things here. Greg, what's next on the list?
Oh, well, there's not a whole lot left. We have the Sandman series.
Yes, The Sandman. Did anybody watch The Sandman besides us here, Magic or Jess?
I've heard of
No.
it because it's written by one of the Doctor Who writers. Is it
Neil Gaiman.
Neil
Neil
Gaiman,
Gaiman.
that's it, yeah.
Yes, Neil
And it's
Gaiman.
supposed to be really fucking odd. Which, well, to be honest, Neil Gaiman himself's a bit of a weirdo. Apparently, he lets
Definitely.
other men fuck his wife, and he's quite happy with it.
Yeah, it is really not good. I haven't read the original comic books. Jess, have you maybe read the comic books, Sandman?
No, dude, because, Marvel guy.
Is it
As
from
I have to
Loyalty.
keep telling
Loyalty.
you.
Is it from DC? I don't know. Here, Greg, is Sandman DC property?
Yeah.
Bazzil says he liked it. It's very strange for sure.
Yeah, but I didn't. I didn't like it at all. Even I don't know the comics. I'm sure the comic book is not what we have seen on the screen.
Well, as far as all I know about the TV show is they've gender swapped a couple of characters.
A couple, yeah. If you mean with a couple, all characters, yeah, then you are right. Because now the Sandman is supposed to be one of 7 what do you call it, siblings. He has there are 7 children, and
Yeah, yeah.
Sandman is one of them.
It's like Death, Desire, and I forget the other ones. But yeah, those are all supposed to be his siblings, right?
Yeah, his siblings. But it turns out in the TV series, he is the only guy. They are all women. All of them. Which is...
I think Desire is male, but he looks female.
Yeah. So if it's a fact, it's also a female.
I mean, he comes across as, he's got lipstick and stuff on, so I could see why you'd get confused.
Oh, entertainment.
But that's normal in Germany, right?
I don't get confused. If a guy puts on lipstick, then it's for me, it's also a woman. So
Clip that, folks.
end of discussion.
So the guys wear lipstick and the women don't in Germany. Is that right? Or
no, it's not.
No,
right.
no. The women shave in Germany.
Yeah, but as I said, he is now the kind of the only guy, and all the others, all his others, he has just sisters. Even the devil himself is a woman. Here, the one that rules hell. Death is a woman, of course.
Well, hang on. There's probably a little bit of grain of truth in that one, then. Death being a woman.
Yeah, and so for me, I got really pissed off because, and the biggest thing that pissed me off really bad was the character of Constantine, because Constantine, and Constantine, Jess, from Swamp Thing, or not?
Yes. I'm aware of Constantine.
Yeah, and they changed also Constantine into a woman in this series.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, that's why I never entertained.
But I wasn't
watching the
aware
show.
of any of the original material, so it didn't bother me that they're switching people around because I, wasn't aware of it. So I just went into it with fresh, non-biased eyes, and it seemed okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't dislike it.
And Jess, do you know which woman plays Constantine?
I have no idea.
From Doctor Who, here the last not Doctor Who herself. Before that, here when in the Capaldi era, the sidekick, what's her, Clara.
Oh yeah, that cute little thing from Doctor Who. Yeah,
But the acting was okay. I mean, the women did okay.
The actress who can never make up her mind whether or not she's actually using her original Northern dialect or whether she's trying to be Southern.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a few actors who've had that problem in the past, where they're trying to speak without an accent, but every sort of adjective or verb, suddenly you can hear the twang. which still indicates to me that they're not necessarily that good an actor if they can't even get their accents right.
Yeah, certainly no Hugh Laurie.
So she is now
Tally ho, ping ping, and Bernard your uncle.
So she is now Constantine in this series, and the thing is that Sleep is the one that we follow, the Sandman. Because of him, people dream. They have good dreams or bad dreams. And because he gets captured at the beginning for 100 years, people fall.
He gets captured, and so the dreams get affected. He is a rather dark character, though.
Yeah, he's well cast. Also, I think it's okay with him.
It was good casting and good acting and decent writing. If you throw out I didn't care about gender swaps because I didn't know they were supposed to be male. It didn't matter. So I was just going into it as an honest opinion. There's some boring parts and some slow stuff, but it starts out with him having to retrieve the stuff that was stolen from him, his sand and his mask and whatever else. And it looks like that's going to be the whole series, but he resolves that fairly quickly, and he moves through different challenges. I thought the writing was better than I expected, and the acting and the casting was pretty good.
First off, there are 2 storylines in this series. It has 10 episodes, and it has an 11th. It has an 11th episode, which is kind of separate.
I'd save the 11th one, so we can talk about that next time.
Yeah, it's kind of separated from the.
Yeah, I considered that a different thing, so I figured we'd save that, do that one on another stream.
Yeah, which is, I'm totally fine with that. But in the regular 10 episodes, we have 2 storylines. The first one is where he gets his stuff back, which is the first 5 episodes. And the second storyline is where a storm appears in his dreamland or something like that, and which is not something irregular, and it turns out that one of his siblings is responsible for that, which is just awful and boring, and also all the women kind of lecture him there in this TV series. He gets it from all sides, also from woman Constantine.
It's true.
Yeah, so which is a thing that reminded me heavily on Picard. I thought, oh my God, he's the new Picard, younger version, something like that.
Well, he doesn't shrink from it, though. He fights back. And sometimes he, like, when that nightmare was talking shit to him, he eliminated her. Knocked her from existence. And also, because he's darker, Picard would never have done that. Picard would have cried and curled into a ball. So it's different.
Yeah, but please, we have no clue how the power levels are with these supposedly gods, half gods, whatsoever, kind of Eternals or something like that. And for example, when he has the fight in hell with what was her name? Death? Not.
Well, he goes to hell and has to fight the devil. So
the devil, yeah, he kind of the devil herself, and and we have no clue why the hell he wins, because we don't know anything about the power levels of these gods, and also we don't know if they're supposed to kill each other or if they're supposed to.
Well, that makes it more interesting in a way. We're not locked into something. They're mixing and matching their metaphysical characters, which is okay.
Easy writing to me.
Yeah, but because if you have no clue how strong somebody is and what's his weakness and so on, how can you enjoy a fight?
Exactly. I enjoyed it. I don't need a list of everybody's qualifications before it begins. You do.
I had
Well-
no clue why the
Well,
hell he
we've
won.
just got higher standards.
Yeah,
It really bothered you, though.
yeah, because I had no clue
He
why.
does have higher standards. It's true.
Yeah, but did you know why Sandman won this fight even? Because it looked at the beginning that he has no chance against the devil in hell. It was not just the devil, she was also on her playground in hell.
Oh, that's
So
true. It was very surprising.
yeah, and also
Hang on, let me stop you for a second then, Cub. So she's in hell fighting, blah blah blah. Where are all the devil's minions and everything? You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Surely
there were
there should be hundreds of thousands of souls in there fighting on
yeah,
their side.
yes.
It was a match. It was a one-on-one thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
so no
it-
souls in hell then.
No, souls in
Sounds
hell.
like lazy writing to me.
No, they were there watching. They were the audience. Or-
Yeah, they were the audience.
Yeah.
The devil doesn't need any help in a fight. I wouldn't think.
Yeah, and as I said, for me, this was not really interesting. As I said, when I don't know the stakes, when I don't know the powers, so a fight is for me not interesting. Really, they could make up everything.
Well, if
They
there's only
did.
10 episodes, I'll try and get it done. I'll give it a watch.
Yeah, and yeah, but it's kind of entertaining. At least the first 5 episodes are watchable, I would say.
Yes, I would
But-
agree with that. The latter 5, it really loses its steam.
Yeah,
But the
latter
first 5
5,
are basically a story in and of themselves. They tacked on a whole nother story on the other 5. So I would agree. You know, you could watch the first 5 and be done with it.
yeah, because the other ones are clearly a waste of time. I had the feeling I wasted my time. It was so boring to see that. And also, we have the problems with the powers of the people because this storm or whatever, it was,
The vortex.
yeah, at the beginning, you were thinking it was it was hinged at that she maybe is a real powerful being or something like that. And then in the last episode, she just gets beaten like everybody else, and that's it. And I had no clue why. I had no clue why. Before that, she was kind of could do everything she wanted, and she was the one, something special, really like a Mary Sue, and but then for no reason the Sandman could easily defeat her, and that's it, and also the others.
Well,
So
she handed over her power or whatever as a vortex to the original one, which is where her grandmother, who was supposed to get it but didn't because he was asleep. And then you had a whole sub context. I'm not going to explain the whole thing to you, but that's why.
yeah, whatever. I don't care.
I think you fast forwarded through 3 or 4 episodes.
I wish I would have done that.
Well, it's hard to figure things out with dodgy German dubbing.
Yeah, whatever. So yeah, so much for the Sandman. So is there anything else on the list, Greg?
No, we're basically done, and I'm still having internet issues here, so I should probably drop out and let y'all guys talk.
Well, I've got to go in a minute anyway, so it's probably a good time to wrap it up, isn't it, Cub?
Yeah. Okay. Let's wrap it up. And so thanks for everybody who was listening here. And I'm going to upload this one also on Odyssey. I created an Odyssey channel for Greg because he wanted the live streams saved for future generations.
So next episode, Bazzil Broketail will be here, and he wanted to go over Marathon Man, the the Dustin Hoffman movie from the 70s.
Oh,
And we'll
fucking hell, I
also
haven't
do
seen
Lone
that
Wolf
for
and Cub
ages.
movies.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen Marathon Man?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Not for a
of
while,
course.
but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
so
And,
that was on
yeah,
our list for today, but he couldn't make it.
yeah, we no problem. Next time we are going to talk about that, and also about the Lone Wolf and Cub movies, and of course also about the new movies that are released between now and in 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be on the last month in next month on the last Sunday, if nothing comes between that.
Mm-hmm. And you'll also be around on Wednesday as well, Cub, remember?
Yeah, I'm also around on Wednesday. Yeah, next Wednesday. Of course, we have the direct live stream after Lone Wolf and Cub. So that is going to be a great one. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Yeah, on Digital Pollution. So yeah, Greg, that's okay for you. Sunday in 2 months, the last Sunday.
Yeah, our Halloween episode.
Last Sunday in October. Yeah,
Right.
so that people get here a little bit of a hint when the next one comes up, not that it comes out of nowhere as usual.
We'll try and have some scary movies on the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I haven't sorted out which horror movies I'll be showing on the Saturday yet. I haven't even thought
Oh, that's
about
going to
it.
be awesome. I hope you find some good ones.
I will scour the depths of the archives and see what comes out.
Sounds good, man.
Ones that don't
Well,
automatically
cheers,
get-
everybody.
Yeah, bye everybody. So